Chapter 12:35. My 300 wives and concubines are all as beautiful as flowers. They are either daughters of noble families or saintesses of ancient clans. None of them can compare to young Emperor Ling Yan. They can't even compare to one of her fingers. Lu Fugue sighed. Of course, he could only look at it for a bit. Although Lu Fugue was a playboy and a pervert, he still knew his limit. Ling Yuan was not an ordinary saintess, nor was she an existence that he could fantasize about, even if he was the young master of the Lu family. Unless he was at the level of the son of God of the Jun family. But was he? Lu Fugue also knew that, apart from his appearance, he could not compare to one of the son of God of the Jun family in any other aspect. Even in forging, Lu Fugue felt that, as long as the son of God of the Jun family was willing to learn a little, his forging skills would definitely be many times better than his. Therefore, there was no need to think about this young Emperor Ling Yan. He could only look. Facing the countless burning gazes, Ling Yan frowned slightly even though she was already used to it. She did not like such passionate gazes. Young Emperor Ling Yan, I am the saint of the Starry Sword Pavilion. I hope to travel with you. Young Emperor Ling Yan, I am the chief disciple of the Nine Profound Sect. I am willing to escort you. Young Emperor, I am Chu Xingyun of the Chu family. Many young geniuses stepped forward to recommend themselves. Ling Yan looked indifferent. After a glance, she immediately locked her eyes on the black-robed man standing in the crowd. Are you the one who said that you will regret it if I don't meet you? Ling Yan looked at the black-robed man and said coldly. The black-robed man did not comment. Come in with me. Ling Yan turned around and went back to the palace. She did not want to show her violent side in public. It would damage her demeanor as a Xian Ting young emperor. The black-robed man was also careless. In other words, he did not care at all and directly went in. Damn, did it really work? Lu Fugue was dumbfounded. Just now, he was mocking her for trying to attract Ling Yan with this kind of little trick. She must be dreaming. And now, he had really succeeded. The crowd was tongue-tied and petrified. There were also many people who were jealous. That was because the black-robed man was the only one that Ling Yan had met alone during this period of time. But soon, someone understood what was going on and sneered. Look, that black-robed man dares to play tricks on young Emperor Ling Yan. Let's see how he'll be thrown out. Maybe he will be crippled by young Emperor Ling Yan. Indeed, I heard that young Emperor Ling Yan hasn't been in a good mood recently. This was human nature. Compared to not being able to obtain it himself, it was more unbearable for someone else to obtain it. Everyone was waiting to watch the show. Inside the palace, there were only Ling Yan and the black-robed man. Even Sakura retreated, because he didn't want to see the black-robed man's miserable state. Sigh, of all times, he chose this time to provoke Her Highness. Sakura sighed in her heart, observed a moment of silence for the black-robed man, and then retreated. Ling Yan clasped her hands behind her back and looked at the black-robed man with a cold expression. You're very unlucky because you bumped into me when I was in a bad mood. Given her character, she wouldn't directly torture the black-robed man in front of her to death. However, it was still okay to teach him a lesson. It could also be considered as a way to vent the depression in her heart. At this moment, the black-robed man suddenly chuckled. Ling Yan, are you on your period? Why are you so anxious? Hearing this somewhat familiar voice, Ling Yan's originally incomparably cold pretty face was immediately filled with astonishment. She even ignored the fact that he had teased her about her period. At her cultivation level, her physical body was perfect and flawless. How could she be on her period? The black-robed man pulled down his hood and took off his black robe. It was still the same flawless white robe that was whiter than snow. His handsome facial features were shrouded in a hazy radiance. His divine appearance was elegant, handsome, and meaningful. His slender figure was as straight as bamboo. As usual, he was as elegant as the wind, like a banished immortal riding the wind. Who else could it be if not Jun Xiaoyao? Jun Xiaoyao. How is this possible? Ling Yan was stunned, and for a moment, her mind went blank. For a moment, she even suspected that someone had disguised himself as Jun Xiaoyao through illusion or disguise. But in the next moment, she denied this idea. Not to mention that Jun Xiaoyao's appearance was so handsome that it was difficult to imitate. Even if someone could just barely imitate Jun Xiaoyao's appearance, it would be impossible. However, that kind of otherworldly and aloof temperament was not something that could be easily imitated. Therefore, she was certain that the person in front of her was Jun Xiaoyao. However, wasn't Jun Xiaoyao seriously injured and recuperating in the Jun family? How could he appear in Xianting and stand in front of her? Seeing Ling Yan's repeatedly changing expression of astonishment, Jun Xiaoyao felt a little funny. What, don't you want to see me? Then I'll leave? Wait, Ling Yan bit her lip and couldn't help but speak. At this moment, she was no longer as cold and indifferent as before. She was simply like a little girl who was worried about personal gains and losses. If Lu Fugue and the others outside the palace saw this, their eyes would definitely pop out. Was this still the cold and elegant young Empress Ling Yan? What's going on? It's indeed you, but it can't be. Ling Yan was a little confused. It's a long story, but it's also very simple. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. Could it be that the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were besieging your Dharmakaya? No, they wouldn't be so stupid. Ling Yan thought for a moment and directly rejected this idea. If the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty were really besieging Jun Xiaoyao's Dharmakaya, then they were too unprofessional and unworthy of their reputation as assassins of the Jin dynasty. They were indeed besieging my Dharmakaya, Jun Xiaoyao said truthfully. Then you're a Dharmakaya now? Ling Yan guessed again. But she also felt that something was wrong, because the faint oppressive aura of Jun Xiaoyao in front of her made her feel a little depressed. No matter how strong Jun Xiaoyao was, the aura of a Dharmakaya couldn't possibly suppress her. The current me is also the Dharmakaya. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. But Ling Yan was speechless for a moment. Who said that you can only have one Dharmakaya? Jun Xiaoyao said with a smile. There's no harm in telling you the truth. I've cultivated the 3 pure ones with one breath. The strength of my doppelganger and Dharmakaya is not much different. Or in other words, there's no difference between the Dharmakaya and the doppelganger. The 3 of them are one, and they are all me, Jun Xiaoyao said. Only then did Ling Yuan come to a realization. The 3 pure ones with one breath was the ultimate skill of the white-robed king of gods, Jun Wuhui. And it was extremely difficult to cultivate. Even if others obtained it, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to cultivate a doppelganger with the same strength as the Dharmakaya. But for the peerless genius Jun Xiaoyao, it didn't seem to be a difficult task. But I don't feel the aura of the primal chaos on you. Ling Yan was still puzzled. If Jun Xiaoyao was also the Dharmakaya in front of her, then why didn't he have the primal chaos aura unique to the primal chaos constitution? Jun Xiaoyao sighed with a smile and slowly raised his hand. Suddenly, a vast aura of qi and the light of the Great Path burst forth at the same time, reflecting each other's brilliance. The entire palace was dazzling. Of course, this was Ling Yan's palace. It was engraved with an isolation array, so the outside world couldn't pry into it. No one dared to casually use their divine consciousness to probe Ling Yan's palace. Ling Yan's eyes widened when she saw this scene. She almost stopped breathing. She felt an extremely powerful pressure. The connate sage constitution Dao fetus. Ling Yan couldn't help but cry out. How did Jun Xiaoyao suddenly possess such an unparalleled and invincible constitution? Chapter 1236. Ling Yan felt a little dizzy, and her crystal-clear pupils were shaking. The innate sacred body was one of the most powerful physiques. Since ancient times, those who had such a physique were all peerless powerhouses who stood at the top of the world and fought until heaven and earth lost their voices. Let's not talk about those from ancient times. The closest one was Emperor without end. With his own strength, he carried the coffin to the 9 heavens and intimidated the 9 heavens forbidden zone. He even set up the endless killing formation to stop the powerhouses of the forbidden zones from descending and quell the turmoil of the world. Such an ancient hero was still spreading his name in the mystic realm. Some people also wondered why there was no innate sacred body in this golden era. This was very surprising. This golden era was supposed to be a stage for all kinds of forbidden physiques to compete for hegemony. There was even news about the chaotic physique, but there was no news about the innate sacred body. Now Ling Yan understood. It was not that there was no innate sacred body in this era. It was that the candidate for the innate sacred body was too well hidden. No one could have guessed it. However, after sensing for a while, Ling Yan's eyes showed a hint of doubt. No, that's not right. Although it's the innate sacred body, it feels like it's missing a kind of perfection. Jun Xiaoyao did not mind being seen through by Ling Yan. He smiled faintly and said, "Yes, I can't be called a real innate sacred body now. Strictly speaking, it should be a quasi-innate sacred body. Or an acquired sacred body." Jun Xiaoyao's words surprised Ling Yan again. She couldn't help but be curious and asked, "You only had the sacred body of the ancients before, and it collapsed in the world of the ruins of God because you sealed the evil thoughts of the gods." "Yes, but no one knew that my sacred body was restored later." Ling Yan was speechless. Jun Xiaoyao hid it too well. When he returned, he only showed his chaotic physique. Everyone thought that his original sacred body had been destroyed, and only the chaotic green lotus physique that he obtained after inheriting Emperor Qing's legacy was left. "Then you should have the sacred body of the ancients, but now," Jun Xiaoyao said casually, "because of some special opportunities, I obtained the substance of the Great Path, which allowed my saintly body to evolve to the extreme, reaching the level of an acquired saintly body of Tao." Naturally, he couldn't say that he had obtained the origin source of the Tao after signing in and cultivating the acquired sacred body. "Did you already foresee that the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty would encircle and annihilate us?" Ling Yan asked. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. "Actually, when I returned to the Huangtian immortal realm from the Immortal Academy, I only had the chaotic body. Meanwhile, the sacred body Tao core has always been in seclusion in the depths of Immortal Academy, not letting anyone know about it. It's like a cicada shedding its carapace. I think that after I deal with the 9 Heavens Taboo clan, my battle prowess will make my enemies wary. They want to secretly stifle my growth, but to be honest, this is exactly what I want. Even if they don't make a move, I will create the illusion that someone did. So I'm very happy that the 3 assassins of the Jin dynasty would come to encircle and annihilate me." A faint smile appeared on Jun Xiaoyao's handsome face. Ling Yan, on the other hand, felt a slight chill all over his body. Jun Xiaoyao was too terrifying. That kind of control that was as clear as fire, as well as monstrous intelligence. He even beat them at their own game. The enemy's assassination plot had instead helped him achieve his goal. This kind of courage was simply shocking. Ling Yan was also very smart. He vaguely guessed what Jun Xiaoyao's goal was. "Then you are willing to sacrifice your chaotic body for this goal?" Ling Yan was puzzled. Now there was news that Jun Xiaoyao's chaotic body had been severely damaged, and even his Tao foundation had been damaged. He wouldn't be able to recover without a few decades of treatment. Jun Xiaoyao's chaotic green lotus physique was actually not much different from the real chaotic body. Jun Xiaoyao dared to gamble with such a rare and powerful physique. Jun Xiaoyao shook his head and laughed. After all, even I didn't expect that the quasi-emperor of heaven would fight so hard that he even self-destructed his imperial weapon. But it's too much to say that my Tao foundation was damaged. I should be fine after a few months of treatment. Also, Only when the news of my serious injuries spread will others think that my threat has been greatly reduced and that I have been recovering in the Jun family. Jun Xiaoyao's words made Ling Yan speechless. He had really planned it all out in every aspect. His resourcefulness was simply terrifying. No wonder he could beat the heavens. Then your goal. Ling Yan wanted to say something, but stopped. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly and said, "You are very smart. You should have guessed it when you saw me. You want to enter the Forgotten Nation." Ling Yan sighed and said, "That's right. That's why I created the illusion that I was seriously injured and was recuperating in the Jun family to confuse the world," Jun Xiaoyao said. "Then you came to me because you thought that I would help you." Ling Yan's jade-like hands clenched slightly. "That's right," Jun Xiaoyao said. He had to make a trip to the Forgotten Nation. Whether it was for the clue about the desolate emperor left behind by the Endless Emperor, or to sign in at the Forgotten Nation, he had to make a trip there, and the Xian Ting monopolized the Forgotten Nation. If he wanted to enter, he could only go through Ling Yan. "What makes you think that I will help you?" After all, the Jun family and the Xian Ting had some friction before during the Immortal War. "I can even report you right now and say that you are here. Then wouldn't all your previous arrangements be in vain?" Ling Yan looked straight at Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao had a faint smile on his face. Jun Xiaoyao's usual expression was very indifferent. But when she smiled, it was extremely beautiful. It gave people a comfortable feeling like a spring breeze. "You're right. As long as you expose my identity now, all my previous arrangements will be meaningless." But Jun Xiaoyao walked closer to Ling Yan and looked at Ling Yan with eyes as deep as the night stars. Ling Yan could even smell the fresh and pleasant smell on Jun Xiaoyao's body. Her smooth and exquisite jade-like face couldn't help but blush slightly. If it were any other man who dared to offend her like this and get so close to her, she would have slapped him. "In the entire Xian Ting, I only trust you." This sentence completely broke Ling Yan's defenses. She looked at the handsome man in front of her and couldn't help the impulse in her heart. She stepped forward and hugged Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao was slightly stunned, and then a faint smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. He hugged Ling Yan. "If you want to get something, you have to pay first." Jun Xiaoyao understood this principle. As long as she didn't take his virginity, everything else was fine. Ling Yan hugged Jun Xiaoyao and murmured, "I know you are using me." Jun Xiaoyao was silent. "So, I really want to hate you and slap you in the face. I, Ling Yan's man, should only love me, but your heart is not with me." Jun Xiaoyao continued to be silent. As an experienced lover, he knew that the wisest thing to do at this time was to be silent, because anything he said would be wrong. "But I can't hate you. I thought it was the fairy Kiteswill that was causing trouble. But before, when I heard the news that you were seriously injured, I was very anxious and inexplicably uncomfortable. Maybe you are my destined tribulation." Chapter 12:37. When a woman said that you were the calamity of her destiny. That proved that she had completely fallen and could no longer escape. Jun Xiaoyao was very clear about this. That was why he dared to reveal all his plans to Ling Yan. Even Ling Yan's feelings for him were within Jun Xiaoyao's calculations, although using her feelings was somewhat unpresentable. But other than that, Jun Xiaoyao could not find any other way to enter the Forgotten Country. "If hating me can make you feel better, then hate me," Jun Xiaoyao said. Ling Yan bit her lip. She really could not hate the man in front of her even if she wanted to. Not because of Fairy Yuan's will, but because of herself. Ling Yuan let go of Jun Xiaoyao after exhaling a fragrant scent that smelled like orchids and musk. She said, "I can promise to take you with me into the Forgotten Nation. But you have to promise that you will not do anything to endanger the Xian Ting. You can rest assured that I will not do anything to endanger the immortal lineage of Empress Hua, nor will I prevent you from obtaining the opportunity. I will even help you obtain it," Jun Xiaoyao said. He said that he would not endanger the immortal lineage of Empress Hua and would only help Ling Yan. Of course, if there are others who insist on targeting me, then exceptions are made, Ling Yan said. To be honest, she also knew that bringing Jun Xiaoyao into the Forgotten Country was definitely not beneficial to the Xian Ting. But she just could not refuse this man. She felt very uncomfortable rejecting Jun Xiaoyao. But as the young empress of the Xian Ting, helping Jun Xiaoyao also made her feel a sense of betrayal towards the Xian Ting. She was caught in the middle of responsibility and emotions, and felt a sense of suffocation. No matter how strong she was still a woman. He seemed to see the exhaustion in Ling Yan's eyes. Jun Xiaoyao's wrist flashed, and he took out something. "This is a gift for you." Ling Yan's beautiful eyes fell on him. It was a dress with a very special cut, but it was quite gorgeous and had a silk texture. "This is a qipao. It's not very precious, but it's still a top-notch utmost exalted artifact." Ling Yan reached out her jade-like hand to take it, her face slightly red. This Chong Sam was a little too tight, and it made Ling Long's tall and slender figure even more graceful. It was just that this Chong Sam had a high slit and was a little tight. It was almost close to the sexy style. "Why do you always give me these things?" Ling Yan regained her composure and felt a little embarrassed. She rolled her eyes at Jun Xiaoyao charmingly. Last time it was silk stockings. This time it was a Chong Sam. Why were they all such embarrassing things? "You're finally smiling," Jun Xiaoyao said with a faint smile. Ling Yan was stunned, and a warm current flowed through his heart. Perhaps it was Jun Xiaoyao's casual gentleness that made her fall for him. Jun Xiaoyao heaved a sigh of relief. It was finally done. What was a scumbag? When he was so scumbag that girls were willing to sacrifice for him. Then he was not a scumbag, but a Casanova. "You're not wearing it?" Jun Xiaoyao said. "A Chong Sam with silk stockings, how wonderful could it be? I'll have a chance in the future. I can only wear it for you to see." Ling Yan's voice was as soft as a mosquito's, and only she heard the second half of the sentence. She was absolutely unwilling to wear such a tight-cut Chong Sam in public. Although she looked noble and cold on the outside, she was actually very conservative on the inside. Jun Xiaoyao didn't care much and nodded. "Okay, I'll come again when the Forgotten Kingdom opens." If he stayed in Ling Yan's bedroom, it would inevitably arouse suspicion. Before he really entered the Forgotten Kingdom, his true identity could only be known by Ling Yan alone. Then, the two walked out of the bedroom. Jun Xiaoyao had already put on his black robe and hood. "Thank you very much, young Emperor Ling Yan." Jun Xiaoyao lowered his voice, nodded slightly at Ling Yan, and turned to leave. Ling Yan watched Jun Xiaoyao leave. On that exquisite jade face, there was actually a trace of a little girl's hidden bitterness. As for the young elites that were waiting to watch the show, they were all dumbfounded as they saw this scene. F***ck, am I seeing things? That black-robed man came out alive? And he seems to be completely fine. Most importantly, young Emperor Ling Yan actually sent him out? Is that still the cold and aloof young emperor? Who exactly is that black-robed man? All the young geniuses were stunned. Especially those who had knelt on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights, and those who had given a lot of gift. They were all envious and jealous, and their mentality collapsed. They had given so much, but Ling Yan didn't even look at them. However, this mysterious black-robed man was able to win Ling Yan's favor. "Hey brother, you're awesome!" A fat man greeted Jun Xiaoyao. It was the young master of the Lu family, Lu Fugue. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly and left. It was best for him to keep a low profile and not arouse the curiosity and speculation of others. If his identity was exposed, his plan would be in vain. He still needed to check in at the Forgotten Nation, and he also needed to figure out the clues about the desolate emperor left behind by Emperor No End. Looking at Jun Xiaoyao's back, Lu Fugue narrowed his eyes. Interesting guy, but is he trying to steal the Son of God from the Jun family? Everyone knew that Ling Yen and Jun Xiaoyao had an unusual relationship. In the entire mystic realm, how many people dared to steal Jun Xiaoyao's people? Unless it's him, but that's impossible. After all, the son of God of the Jun family was severely injured and is still lying in the Jun family. Lu Fugue shook his head and dismissed this ridiculous idea. In the following days, there were still many geniuses who wanted to join the team of the 9 great immortal lineages of the Xian Ting. However, only a few people were qualified. Jun Xiaoyao was also silently waiting for the Forgotten Nation to open. On the other hand, in the Huangtian mystic realm, in the depths of the Jun family's ancestral temple, there was a blessed place with rich spirit qi. A blurry white-robed figure could be vaguely seen sitting cross-legged in the middle. Beside him, there was a towering ancient tree surrounded by endless chaotic qi. Every wisp of it was extremely heavy, as if it could crush the void. This was the chaotic ancient tree that the fifth forefather, Jun Taihao, had cut down. It contained the innate chaotic essence. It was very helpful for the cultivation of the chaotic body. The white-robed figure sitting cross-legged was naturally none other than Jun Xiaoyao. It was just his chaotic body. The 3 pure ones with one breath was a supreme secret technique. It was extremely heaven-defying, and the 3 clones had the same strength as the main body. However, it was extremely difficult to cultivate it. The reason why Jun Xiaoyao was able to cultivate a clone so quickly was because of that. In addition to his monstrous talent, there was another reason. He had many constitutions in his body, and it just so happened that he could separate one of them and use it for cultivation. This was a condition that Jun Wuhui did not have. The current Jun Xiaoyao was a chaotic body. The one who met Ling Yan was a holy body and a Tao fetus. In fact, they were both the main body in him. There was no difference at all. When the time was right in the future, Jun Xiaoyao might be able to use special constitutions, such as the Fateless ones, to cultivate a new clone. When the time came, there would be the chaotic body, the holy body, the Tao fetus, and the Fateless body. Among the 3,000 constitutions since ancient times, the 3 most powerful ones belonged to him. Would he be invincible? If he cultivated it to the extreme, he could even become one with the 3 bodies. He would be invincible, so strong that no one could compare to him. Of course, that was the goal of Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation. With this chaotic ancient tree, I'll be fine after a few months of recuperation, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. A quasi-emperor with an emperor weapon's self-detonation was indeed powerful. However, he had little Evers now by his side. Although the explosion was powerful, he was only slightly affected by it. It was far from the rumors that his Tao foundation was damaged. That was just a rumor that he deliberately let out. However, at least Xian Ting had compensated him with chaos crystals, divine fruits of life, and other treasures. It was a windfall. Jun Xiaoyao then turned his gaze to the side, looking at the little girl sleeping beside him. Ever since the assassination, little Evers now had been in a deep sleep. It was as if she had exhausted all her strength. However, Jun Xiaoyao knew that she was just a little tired. She should wake up after sleeping. There would be no major problems. Who exactly are you? Jun Xiaoyao reached out and pinched little Eversnow's cute face as he muttered to himself. Daddy. No one can bully Daddy. Little Eversnow's pink lips pouted as if she was talking in her sleep. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. At that moment, a blood-red figure suddenly appeared in the void. Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows when he saw who it was. The mother of the red spider lilies had given him another big gift. Chapter 1238. The newcomer had long blood-red hair and was dressed in old clothes. There was a faint demonic blood ring around him. Although he didn't actively release that aura, that faint emperor's aura still made the place tremble slightly. This figure was the Lord of the Blood Pagoda, the king of assassins in the imperial realm, Goshing. This was the ancestral land of the Jun family. Obviously, he was allowed to come here by Jun Xiaoyao's permission. after the immortal battle of the Jin dynasty against the three great assassins ended. The king of assassins also returned to the Huangtian mystic realm with the emperor's court team. Even the Jun family couldn't ignore this great emperor. Fortunately, he had been suppressed by the mother of the hurricane lily. There was a destructive mark in his body that monitored his every move. If he made the slightest move, he would die immediately. The seal of destruction left behind by a supreme martial monarch was not that easy to undo. Now, only Jun Xiaoyao could order the king of assassins. At this moment, the king of assassins finally regained some of his emperor's bearing. After all, he was almost driven crazy by the nine-headed lion. As a great emperor, he lost all his dignity. Now, seeing Jun Xiaoyao, the king of assassins' eyes showed a hint of surprise. 3 great emperors besieged you and then self-destructed. The outside world said that you were seriously injured. Now it seems that you have fooled everyone. The king of assassins' eyes were deep, and then he looked at little Evers now, who was sleeping beside Jun Xiaoyao. His pupils suddenly shrank as he sensed an aura that made him feel a little wary. No wonder the king of assassins was deep in thought. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the king of assassins. Facing a great emperor, he was still calm and said, "I heard that my mount, the nine-headed lion, almost drove you crazy?" The king of assassins' cheeks twitched slightly. This was touching a sore spot. He felt that he was going to hear the name of the great emperor of shit again. "Humph, if you just want to humiliate me, then forget it. I really didn't expect that a great emperor would fight for you. But if the rest of my life is just to humiliate you, then I would rather die together with you." The king of assassins had a strong desire to live. But he was not so lowly as to drag out an ignoble existence. "Haha, you're thinking too much." Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. "To be honest, I admire people like you, the king of assassins. It's better to live than to die. Only those who are alive can be called great emperors. Those who are dead, other than a handful of yellow soil and reputation, have nothing. Knowing when to yield and when to stand tall shows the true colors of a hero." Jun Xiaoyao's words made the king of assassins' expression a little unnatural. He thought that Jun Xiaoyao would humiliate and suppress him to teach him a lesson. Unexpectedly, Jun Xiaoyao had no such intention at all. "Do you think that I will become your servant and follow you wholeheartedly just because you said a few words?" The king of assassins said. "Right now, in your eyes, I'm probably just a junior with some talent and power. But trust me, it won't be long before I become the first person to attain the Tao in this world. In the near future, following me will be an honor for you, not a dark history." Jun Xiaoyao's words were steady and confident, which made the king of assassins look askance. If other people said such words, it was no different from bragging. But when Jun Xiaoyao said it, it always gave people a feeling that it was reasonable. "I have a plan for the imperial court. I want to establish 6 divisions. One of them is called the Dark Division. It specializes in assassination. It's a dagger in the shadows. If you join, you'll be the leader of the Dark Division." Jun Xiaoyao's words made the king of assassins' expression change. He smiled coldly and said, "I don't want to be the leader of the Blood Pagoda. Now I want to be the leader of your Dark Division?" Jun Xiaoyao shook his head and smiled. "I promise that the imperial court will be billions of times stronger than the Blood Pagoda. It can even replace the Xian Ting." Jun Xiaoyao's words stunned the king of assassins. The imperial court can replace the Xian Ting? The king of assassins thought it was funny, but he couldn't laugh. Because at this moment, Jun Xiaoyao's demeanor and power were really like the leader of the imperial court. It was as if he could make all living things submit to him. For some reason, the king of assassins couldn't say a word to refute. Jun Xiaoyao continued, "Heroes don't ask where they come from. King of assassins, make your choice. If you don't agree, I won't force you. You can leave directly, but the destruction mark in your body will always be kept to prevent you from taking revenge. If you agree, then you'll be a member of the imperial court. You can have all the dignity and treatment you deserve. No one will dare to treat you as a servant. Jun Xiaoyao's words were firm at this moment. He didn't need people who weren't sincere. So what if he was a great emperor? If he only relied on force, even if he joined the imperial court, there would be problems in the future. Not to mention, the king of assassins' temperament was somewhat cold and twisted. Hearing this, the king of assassins was silent at first, then he actually looked up to the sky and laughed. Haha, heroes don't ask where they come from. What a good saying. I, Go Xing, had my whole family killed. I escaped from the dung pit, but I was ridiculed, and suppressed by others. In the end, I killed all the way here. What background? It's all fake. Heroes don't ask where they come from. I like this sentence. Jun Xiaoyao, you're an interesting person. I'll play this game with you. For a long time, the king of assassins' heart knot was his background and tragic past. Therefore, whenever someone said Go Xing or the Dung Pit Great Emperor, he would be furious and lose his composure. Now, Jun Xiaoyao had completely undone the knot in his heart by telling him that he didn't care where a hero came from. So what if it was in the past? The future would decide everything. It's a deal. Jun Xiaoyao said. It's a deal. The king of assassins laughed. Who would have thought? In the future, the entire universe would tremble in fear. The dark department of the emperor's imperial court, which would be feared like a tiger, was established under such circumstances. And this dark department leader, the king of assassins, would also become a high-level leader of the emperor's imperial court in the future. He would be the living king of hell who would shake the universe. The king of assassins was completely subdued. Looking at the king of assassins' figure leaving, Jun Xiaoyao smiled with satisfaction. In terms of controlling people's hearts, Jun Xiaoyao could be said to be very insightful. Next, it's the forgotten country. What is the clue of the desolate emperor that the no-end emperor mentioned? About a few months passed. This day, in the Huntian immortal realm, the strange chaos demon star suddenly bloomed with a blood-red light. The vast blood-red light scattered in the depths of the universe and turned into a dazzling red color. It was as if a new world had been opened. A hazy and blurry world was suddenly reflected by the blood-red light. It was endless and incomparably ancient. It was as if it had finally been awakened after countless eras of sleep. It's appeared. The entrance to the forgotten country is about to open. This is one of the 7 incredible immortal realms. I really want to know how incredible it is. Countless cultivators exclaimed, but many people could only watch from the outside of the Huntian immortal realm. All of a sudden, the sound of a bell rang out. That was the sound of the immortal bell of the Xian Ting. It meant that the 9 great immortal orthodoxies would gather together and the trial of the forgotten country would begin. Among them, there were the ruins of the ancient Xian Ting. The prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies and their followers would engage in an intense competition. Chapter 1239. The chime spread across the Huntian immortal realm and the entire 9 heavens immortal realm. Many cultivators and experts who heard the chime immediately gathered at the Huntian immortal realm. Even if they could not enter the Forgotten Kingdom, they could still observe it from afar. After all, it was one of the 7 wonders of the immortal realm. Even though it was rumored to be a dangerous place, it was also a place full of fortunate encounters and treasures. Most importantly, it was sealed and safe. It would only show up once in a while. Otherwise, the ancient Xian Ting would not leave some of its ruins and treasures here. Strictly speaking, the trial was a competition between the 9 immortal factions of the Xian Ting. Even the cultivators recruited from the outside world were only there to support them. The geniuses of the 9 immortal factions were the ones competing for the fortunate encounters. The 9 immortal factions were known as the complete Xian Ting to the outside world. However, the internal conflicts between them had never stopped. It was the difference between an organization and a clan. Clans were restricted by their bloodline. They would not go to extremes unless there was a huge conflict between them. However, many factions were competing for the right to rule the Xian Ting. They all wanted to rule the Xian Ting. It brought about a conflict. The trial was obviously a competition to see who could obtain the most fortunate encounters from the ancient Xian Ting. Whoever could compete for the right to rule the Xian Ting. Among them, Empress Hua's immortal factions and Fuxi's immortal factions had the best chance. One of them had the current young emperor, while the other had the ancient young emperor. However, it did not mean the other immortal factions had no chance at all. Many immortal factions had the potential to awaken their talents too. If they could obtain some of the resources and successions of the ancient Xian Ting, they would not lose out in the competition. Even Empress Hua and Fuxi's immortal factions could not afford to lower their guard. Meanwhile, on the dojo of Empress Hua's immortal factions, a group of experts from Empress Hua's immortal factions, including Granny Lan, wore stern expressions. After all, the trial was related to the fortunate encounters of the ancient Xian Ting ruins. It might even decide the future of Empress Hua's immortal factions. They were obviously treating it seriously. Ling Yan was also at the head of the crowd. Her tall and slender jade-like figure was wrapped in a glazed fairy dress, making her look like a pure white and resplendent immortal flower. Her appearance was peerless and beautiful. Just by standing there, she attracted everyone's attention. Beside her, there were some people who were going to the Forgotten Kingdom with her. These companions were not selected by Ling Yan. It was Empress Hua's immortal lineage who chose it for him. Some of the geniuses had used their connections or the factions behind them to hand over a lot of treasures to Empress Hua's immortal lineage. Shockingly, there was a familiar figure amongst them. It was a chubby and fair man in a golden robe. It was the young master of the Lu clan, Lu Fugui. He was picking his teeth with a quasi-emperor weapon toothpick. At the same time to time, he would secretly look at Ling Yan with his small eyes and gulp. Of course, he could only watch. Ling Yan was like a Tianshan snow lotus, which could be admired from afar but could not be touched. In other words, one had to be qualified to play with her. At least, he did not have that qualification. At this time, another handsome young master in a luxurious green-gold robe looked at Ling Yan and smiled appropriately. "Young Emperor Ling Yan, you have been a little uneasy since just now. Are you a little nervous?" "No," Ling Yan said coldly. The handsome young master did not mind Ling Yan's cold attitude and continued to smile. "Don't worry, in the Forgotten Kingdom, I will definitely protect young Emperor Ling Yan with my life." "That's not necessary. With your strength, whether you can defeat me is still a question," Ling Yan said indifferently. The handsome young master was slightly stunned, then shook his head and sighed. "Sigh, young Master Qin, your boot-licking attitude is really laughable. Young Emperor Ling Yan can't be bothered with you," Lu Fugui said while picking his teeth. The handsome young master turned to look at Lu Fugui and said coldly, "Are you jealous? But with your charm, oh, you have no charm at all. Why? Are you looking down on me?" Lu Fugui provoked. "Others might be afraid of you because you are the young master of the Lu clan, but I am not afraid," the handsome young master said indifferently. He indeed had the qualifications. Because he was a prodigy of the Qin clan that had awakened from a deep slumber, his status was extraordinary. Moreover, the Qin clan's reputation was no weaker than the Lu clan's. His ancestor, the founding emperor Great Emperor, had also ascended the myriad world monarch ranking and suppressed an era. Previously, on the ancient road of ultimate, Jun Xiaoyao had also clashed with the prodigies of the Qin clan. Later on the buried Emperor Star, Jun Xiaoyao directly killed the prodigy of the Qin clan, Qin Wudao. The handsome young master in front of him was a prodigy of the Qin clan called Qin Yuanqing. His strength was incomparable to Qin Wudao's. His appearance and family background were impeccable. It was because of this that Qin Yuanqing was qualified to take the initiative to attack Ling Yan. If he could really gain Ling Yan's favor, he would definitely soar to the sky. Unfortunately, Ling Yan had always been cold to Qin Yuanqing. At this moment, a black-robed figure silently walked over from afar. Even though Ling Yan restrained her emotions, there was still a slight fluctuation on her exquisite face. It was like the ripples of a lake in spring. Qin Yuanqing immediately sensed the ripple. He frowned slightly and looked at the black-robed man walking over. The black-robed man was silent and didn't even greet Ling Yan. On the other hand, Ling Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. Qin Yuanqing said that he would protect her, but Ling Yan only found it laughable. Although Qin Yuanqing was a prodigy of the Qin clan, his strength was at most on par with her. How could he protect her? He was just lusting after her body. Jun Xiaoyao was the only one who was truly qualified to say that he would protect her. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao's arrival, Ling Yan's heart finally calmed down. Even if there were great dangers in the Forgotten Nation, she believed that Jun Xiaoyao wouldn't leave her alone. "Hey brother, we meet again. You're also qualified." Lu Fugue greeted the black-robed man as if they were close friends. The black-robed man was naturally Jun Xiaoyao. He also nodded slightly at Lu Fugue. "Damn, in order to get this spot, I had to give an imperial weapon to Empress Wa's immortal lineage. I hope it's worth it," Lu Fugue said casually. There might be many immortal materials, treasures, and ancient artifacts in the Forgotten Nation. This was very attractive to the Lu clan, who specialized in forging. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and didn't say anything. However, as a forging family, the Lu clan of the ancients was indeed worth making friends with. It just so happened that the emperor's imperial court lacked blacksmiths. Just as Jun Xiaoyao was about to start thinking again, a faint voice sounded. "May I know who you are and where you come from? Why are you hiding? Could it be that you don't have a good image and don't want to be seen?" The voice was cold and it came from Qin Yuanqing. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes flashed. A long time ago, he had sent away Qin Wudao from the Qin clan on the buried Emperor Star. Was he going to send away another one now? Chapter 1240. Although Qin Yuanqing's words were not direct insults, however, the sarcasm in his words was obvious. In fact, it was normal for him to hide his identity. There were also people in black robes among the prodigies of other immortal lineages. The only thing that annoyed Qin Yuanqing was Ling Yan's special attitude toward the black-robed man. "You're from a small family. Not worth mentioning." Jun Xiaoyao changed his voice slightly, making it a little deep and indifferent. He could not reveal his identity before entering the Forgotten Nation. Otherwise, all his efforts would be in vain. Hearing this, even Ling Yuan, who had a cold and indifferent expression, almost could not hold it in anymore. The Jun family was a small family? Many people's faces twitched when they heard this. However, Qin Yuanqing did not know that the black-robed man was Jun Xiaoyao. He also thought that even if the black-robed man had some background, it was nothing compared to the Qin family behind him. "Since you're from a small family, you should know that you should act according to your ability. You'd better not be a burden to me and young King Ling Yan. If you encounter any danger, we won't help you." Qin Yuanqing's tone was cold, as if he was deliberately belittling Jun Xiaoyao in front of Ling Yan. Jun Xiaoyao did not care. He even looked at Qin Yuanqing as if he was a clown. He was not the kind of person who would be jealous of another man for a woman. Wouldn't that be a little stupid? Moreover, Jun Xiaoyao had never pursued a woman. He did not need to pursue a woman. Burden? I don't think so. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled, not minding it at all. That's good. After all, you don't even dare to reveal your true identity. Are you afraid that we will reject you? Qin Yuanqing said coldly. That's not true. At least, young King Ling Yan won't. Let's not talk about me holding her back. Even if I were to touch her back, so what? Jun Xiaoyao said casually. The group of companions present were all stupefied, their eyes and mouths wide open. How could this person have the guts to flirt with young Empress Ling Yuan like this? Lu Fuguei was also stunned. As lecherous as he was, he only dared to take a few glances at Ling Yan. Yet, this guy was actually flirting with her. Impudent! How dare you be so presumptuous and disrespect young Emperor Ling Yan? Qin Yuanqing reprimanded coldly. Enough. Ling Yuan reprimanded Qin Yuanqing and the others with a tender voice. But young Emperor Ling Yan, Qin Yuanqing and the others looked at Ling Yan and were stunned. Ling Yan showed a hint of annoyance. However, her cheeks were slightly flushed. Was this still the cold and indifferent young Empress of Xianting? That's enough. Stop arguing. It's almost time to set off. Ling Yan adjusted his mood. However, she still secretly glanced at Jun Xiaoyao. Was he taking liberties with her in public? Jun Xiaoyao smiled calmly. He wasn't angered by Qin Yuanqing's provocation. He wasn't a great emperor yet, but his mentality was no different from one. In his eyes, Qin Yuanqing's jealousy was as childish and laughable as a child's play. Of course, if Qin Yuanqing provoked him again and again, it would be too much. Then Jun Xiaoyao wouldn't mind erasing him from the Forgotten Kingdom. The bell tolled, echoing throughout the Huntian immortal realm. Those from Empress Wa's immortal lineage set off. The Chaos Demon star shone with a bewitching red light. The forgotten land that was illuminated became clearer and clearer. When Empress Wa's immortal lineage arrived, several immortal lineages were already present. Young Emperor. On the elite Immortal Guard system side, a beautiful girl in a flowery silk dress with a fair face and bright eyes waved at Ling Yuan. It was Wei Qianqian of the elite Guard lineage. Her entourage stood beside her. There were members of various races, some with their faces covered. Ling Yan smiled and nodded in acknowledgement. The elite Guard lineage didn't have much ambition, and had always followed Empress Wa's lead. Strictly speaking, they belonged to Empress Wa's faction. 5 other immortal lineages, including Cangjie, Shenong, Gonggong, Zhurong, and Qiyu, had arrived early as well. Ling Yan's gaze turned serious as he looked around. Cangjie's Cangju, Shenong's Yao Junzi, Gonggong's Gao Ye, Zhurong's Yan Xiao. Looks like these immortal lineages are going all out for the ancient Xian Ting's treasure. Ling Yan murmured to himself. These prodigies were the absolute elites of the 9 immortal lineages. Qiyu was the only exception. Ever since Qi Lai died at Jun Xiaoyao's hands, Qiyu no longer had any worthy prodigies. What was even more surprising was that Qiyu didn't even have a participant slot. They could only enter the Forgotten Kingdom by themselves. Therefore, the prodigies of Qiyu immortal system, such as Qi Long and Qiyu, had ugly looks on their faces. Jun Xiaoyao also glanced around. Among these immortal lineages, he had seen Cangjie, Shenong, and Qiyu before. After all, the successors of these immortal lineages, such as Cangli, Yao Qing, and Qi Lai, had all died at his hands. These prodigies were all seed-level elite. As for the prodigies of Gonggong and Zhurong, it was Jun Xiaoyao's first time seeing them. Their auras weren't weak either. Jun Xiaoyao turned his attention to the immortal Cangjie system. Next to Cangjie's seed-level prodigy, Cangju, stood a sacred figure in a ceremonial robe, holding a golden scepter in his hand. It was Gulan's scion of truth. It seemed that he had also obtained a slot through some means. Huang Nidao, Little Stone King, and the other prodigies had all been brought up to the 9 skies. But the scion of truth wasn't brought up. Therefore, he could only use other means to obtain the opportunity. And the Forgotten Kingdom was the biggest opportunity recently, so he naturally couldn't miss it. As for the Jun family and any prodigies related to Jun Xiaoyao, they didn't come. The reason was simple: the Xian Ting wouldn't let them participate in this opportunity. Damn it, that woman is also here. Lu Fuguei cursed when he saw a figure. Jun Xiaoyao also noticed that it was a woman standing with Cangju and Scion of Truth. Her status wasn't low either. She wore a purple robe, and her body was curvaceous in all the right places. She was hot and sexy. She was also born with a face as beautiful as a flower, bright and charming, soft and delicate. Her dark purple hair was tied into a bun with a purple jade hairpin. That's, Jun Xiaoyao said. Mo family, Mo Yenyu. Lu Fugue ground his teeth. Jun Xiaoyao understood. The Mo family and the Lu family were both blacksmiths, and they always competed with each other. Mo Yenyu also saw Lu Fugue. She raised her eyebrows, revealing a cold intent. Her red lips opened and closed as she mouthed the words silently. Lu Fugue read it. She meant to teach him a lesson in the Forgotten Kingdom. Damn it, going against me every day, I'll teach her a lesson sooner or later. Lu Fugue was furious. Jun Xiaoyao didn't comment. Right now, he was thinking about how to expand the monarch dynasty's manpower. At this moment, a vast battle intent suddenly surged. Jun Xiaoyao looked over. Xingtian's celestial system was here. Chapter 1241. Among the 9 great immortal orthodoxies, there was only one that could match up to Fuxi and Empress Hua in terms of reputation and foundation. It would be Xingtian Immortal System. Xingtian Immortal System controlled Xian Ting's punishment and had always been one of the top immortal orthodoxies. Many believed that the next ruler of this generation would be between Empress Hua and Fuxi. But no one could say for sure since the dust hadn't settled yet. Xingtian Immortal System had the right to fight for it. Among the group of prodigies from the Heaven Punishment immortal lineage was a man in dazzling armor. He had an aura that seemed capable of swallowing the universe. His hair was loose and his eyes were like lightning. He looked like a god of war, his aura shaking the universe. His arrival made the prodigies of the other immortal orthodoxies frown. It's him, Xingyun Shen, the battle saint physique of Xingtian Immortal System. He's also a dormant seed. In the previous epoch, he fought for the position of Xian Ting's young emperor and almost succeeded, but failed in the end. That's why he went into hibernation. I didn't expect him to be plotting for this golden era. The prodigies of the other immortal orthodoxies spoke with solemn tones. Xingyun Shen had the battle saint physique, the legendary number 1 physique for combat. Some heaven-defying battle saint physiques could even defeat those stronger than themselves. Most importantly, Xingyun Shen was extremely ambitious. His greatest dream was to lead Heaven Punishment immortal lineage to become the ruling immortal lineage of the immortal court. His participation in the Forgotten Kingdom clearly meant that he was after the ancient Xian Ting's treasures. Xingyun Shen wasn't the only one who was surprised. Beside him was a dragon. There was also a noble and extraordinary man with dragon horns on his head. He wore a purple-gold imperial robe, showing his noble status. That's the monster of Dragon King Hall, the son of soaring dragon ancient emperor, Long Xuani. Even some of the lofty Xian Ting prodigies were shocked to see this noble figure. Long Xuani was the son of soaring dragon ancient emperor, the young ancestor of Dragon King Hall. In terms of status and bloodline strength, he was on the same level as Huang Niedao, the son of the immortal ancient emperor. 1 dragon and 1 phoenix, they were the most monstrous geniuses of the ancient royal family, the most elite descendants of the ancient emperors. However, Huang Niedao had been brought to the 9 heavens, while Long Xuani was still in the immortal realm. Long Xuani's expression was indifferent in the face of the crowd. Long Xuani chose to work with Xingyun Shen. It seems like they are up to something big. Many of the sky prides from the immortal orthodoxies looked solemn. One was the slumbering battle saint physique of Xingtian Immortal System. One of them was the son of the soaring dragon ancient emperor, the little ancestor of the ancient imperial family who possessed a top-notch bloodline. If the two of them worked together, other than a small number of people, the others would not be able to resist. Jun Xiaoyao's gaze followed. Soaring dragon ancient emperor's son? Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, did not seem to mind. Huang in his eyes to him. As for Long Xuanyi, who was on the same level as Huang Yedao, he naturally didn't think much of him. However, Jun Xiaoyao raised his eyebrows. Behind Xing Yunshan and Long Xuanyi, there was a figure in a black cloak that covered his face. That was nothing out of the ordinary. There were quite a number of people present who hid their identities, and Jun Xiaoyao himself was one of them. However, his divine soul was very sensitive. He felt that the figure had a strange and cold aura. He should be no weaker than Xing Yunshan and Long Xuanyi. However, he was very low-key. He didn't even reveal his identity. Jun Xiaoyao made a mental note. At this moment, Xing Yunshan looked at Ling Yan. His eyes were filled with undisguised battle intent. Young Emperor Ling Yan, please guide me on this trip to the Forgotten Nation. Xing Yunshan's words were polite, but the provocation in his tone was self-evident. After all, the position of young emperor was Xing Yunshan's dream. In the past, he was just a little bit away from that position. This time, in the Forgotten Nation, he obtained the core of the ancient Xian Ting's legacy. He might be able to challenge Ling Yan and pull her down from the young emperor position. Xing Yunshan, it's a pity that this golden era is not prepared for you. Ling Yuan was also extraordinarily domineering, as she said coldly. She only showed her feminine side to Jun Xiaoyao. In the face of outsiders' provocation, she was still as cold and strong as ever. Ha! Who knows what will happen in the future? Xing Yunshan smiled. The sky prides of the immortal lineages could feel the tension between the two of them. It hadn't even started yet, but the immortal orthodoxies were already fighting each other. At this moment, a faint chuckle sounded. Everyone, we're all from the ancient Xian Ting. Why are you being so discordant? The voice was calm, as if it had great confidence in controlling everything. There was no doubt who it was. It was none other than Di Haotian. Di Haotian was wearing a simple and loose white robe. His long golden hair was sparkling and translucent, floating in the void. His pair of silver eyes were as deep and unpredictable as two silver moons. His skin was more delicate and flawless than most women's. It was as if he was an immortal jade. His aura was too otherworldly and extraordinary. It was as if a son of God had descended to the world. As soon as he arrived, the noisy scene immediately quieted down. It was as if he was really the lord of the ancient Xian Ting. Even the previously domineering Xing Yunshan's face turned serious when he saw Di Haotian. He dared to go against Ling Yan, the young emperor, but he didn't dare to provoke Di Haotian. This was Di Haotian's power. Next to Di Haotian was a man in a Taoist robe. It was Gu Tizi from the Fuxi immortal lineage. However, this genius, who had once stood shoulder to shoulder with Ling Yuan, was now following beside Di Haotian like a servant, without any glory at all. Gu Tizi had accepted his fate. He had been defeated repeatedly by Jun Xiaoyao. Later, he was even despised by everyone in the immortal region. If he wasn't the successor of the Fuxi immortal lineage, he would have been beaten to death. Now, he could only follow by Di Haotian's side to have a chance of rising to the top. Other than Gu Tizi, many prodigies from the 18 horsemen of Yenyun were also following Di Haotian. For example, Bai Luoxue, the red-haired ghost, and the purple flame heavenly lord were all there. Among them, there were two prodigies who attracted many people's attention. Their auras were on par with the top prodigies of the various immortal lineages. Are those two the eldest and second eldest of the 18 horsemen of Yenyun, Yu Hui and Yu Mo? Rumor has it that they're brothers. One has the glorious battle body, while the other has the dark Night King body. They complement each other and are invincible. Yeah, they once challenged Di Haotian but lost in the end. But even Di Haotian said that if the two of them joined forces, he would be in trouble for a while. How are they going to fight? Di Haotian's followers alone are enough to suppress us, not to mention Gu Tizi. Many of the sky prides of immortal orthodoxies sighed inwardly. Now, there was no doubt that the strongest faction had been formed. The Fuxi immortal lineage, Di Haotian's faction. The Empress Hua immortal lineage, Ling Yan's faction. The Xingtian immortal lineage, Xingyun God's faction. The three factions had been formed. Chapter 1242. Of course, this did not mean that the prodigies of the other immortal lineages had no hope of competing. It was just that they would be at a disadvantage compared to the other three immortal lineages. It would be very difficult to turn the tables around unless they had heaven-defying luck and opportunity. Di Haotian stood with his hands behind his back, looking down on everyone. To him, this experience was nothing more than child's play. No one could stop him. He knew all about the opportunities in the forgotten nations. He also knew what he had to do. The only uncertainty was Jun Xiaoyao, who was still recuperating in the Jun family, and could not stop him. Therefore, Di Haotian was calm and confident this time. In his opinion, after this fortuitous encounter, there would be no need to worry. The unification of the Xian Ting was inevitable, and he would undoubtedly become the future ruler of the Xian Ting. Thinking of this, Di Haotian looked at Ling Yan again. After all, Gu Tizi and Ling Yan were indispensable chess pieces in his plan. That was why he brought Gu Tizi with him. Of course, Ling Yan was more important, because she had a special identity, which was related to an important figure in the ancient Xian Ting. This identity was only known to the core of Empress Hua's immortal lineage. The other 8 immortal lineages were completely kept in the dark. Di Haotian relied on his rebirth memories and advantages to find out early on and make plans. And that important figure was also the basis of Di Haotian's unification of the Xian Ting. As if sensing Di Haotian's gaze, Ling Yan's beautiful face was incomparably cold. Because of Di Haotian, she, as the current young empress, was in a somewhat awkward position. Therefore, she would not be nice to Di Haotian. Di Haotian's gaze swept casually. Suddenly, it stopped on a black-robed man beside Ling Yan. He frowned inwardly. Vaguely, there was an indescribable and inexplicable feeling in his heart. This is, Di Haotian looked at the black-robed man. Under the hood, Jun Xiaoyao sneered. It had to be said that Di Haotian's intuition was not bad. It's none of your business, Ling Yan said coldly. Heh! Di Haotian smiled casually, not caring at all. Perhaps it was just an illusion. The only person who could threaten him was still lying in his family's ancestral land. On Ling Yan's side, the group of people who were traveling with Jun Xiaoyao looked at him with puzzled eyes. How could this mysterious black-robed man have the qualifications to attract Di Haotian's attention? Qin Yuanqing's eyes flashed with confusion. This person could make Ling Yan give special treatment and attract Di Haotian's attention. Indeed, one could not help but think deeply about his identity. Who cares what his identity is? At most, he's on par with me, Qin Yuanqing said to himself. At this moment, a mighty voice was heard. It was from a big shot of the Xian Ting. Everyone, the Forgotten Kingdom is about to open. As one of the 7 wonders of the immortal realm, the Forgotten Kingdom is mysterious and strange. No one can tell what's real and what's fake. Although there are many opportunities, there are also many risks. There is even the possibility of death at any time. So you have to think carefully. As long as you enter the Forgotten Kingdom, you will have to bear the risk of death. Even we will not be able to save your lives from outside. So, it's not too late to choose to withdraw now. The words of the big shot of the Xian Ting made the faces of the 9 great immortal lineages turn serious. But no one wanted to withdraw. After all, how could one not take risks if one wanted to obtain an opportunity? Most importantly, the Forgotten Kingdom contained the treasures of the ancient Xian Ting. If they could obtain the inheritance of some ancient Xian Ting big shot, their status in the future would be different. In this golden era, there was no lack of opportunities and luck. Seeing the determined look on everyone's faces, the big shot of the Xian Ting did not say anything else. Buzz, the void rippled like water. The Chaos Demon Star, which was emitting a demonic blood-red light, shone into the depths of the universe. The scenery there became more and more obvious. There were mountains and plains, ancient forests, collapsed ruins, and desolate deserts. That place was a forgotten land. No one knew how that land was formed or how mysterious and strange it was. "Let's go," the big shot of the Sien Ting ordered. The 9 great immortal lineages geniuses and their recruited companions flew into the sky. They passed through the void as if they were passing through a water curtain. "Let's go too," Ling Yen shouted. There was a hint of excitement in Qin Yuanqing's eyes. He must perform well in front of Ling Yen and win her heart. Little did he know, Ling Yen glanced at Jun Xiaoyao from the corner of her eye. Ling Yen could only feel at ease with him around. As for Jun Xiaoyao, the purpose of this trip was very simple: unlocking the clues of the desolate emperor and signing in. Of course, he also wanted to know what Di Haotian was up to. As the group of geniuses entered the void, that part of the universe shook like waves. They had already entered the Forgotten Kingdom, but it was not that easy to get out. The upper echelons of the 9 great immortal lineages of the Sien Ting watched silently. This was a trial for the younger generation, because in this golden era, the younger generation represented the future. I have a feeling that after this trial, the future of the Sien Ting might really appear. Whether we can unify into a complete Sien Ting or continue to split will depend on this trial. Many important figures of the Sien Ting murmured silently in their hearts. This was an extremely vast plain, and one could not see the end of it at a glance. As far as the eye could see, the mountains, rivers, and seas did not seem to be any different from ordinary places. At a certain moment, countless sounds of wind breaking could be heard. A dense crowd of figures landed on the ground. Everyone was looking around and sizing up their surroundings. Is this the Forgotten Kingdom? It doesn't feel much different from the outside world. No, the concentration of spirit qi here is far denser than in the celestial realm. Could that be a sacred medicine? The sky full of stars is almost extinct in the outside world. It's a sacred medicine from ancient times. In the distance, could that be a 9-headed bird, an ancient mutant that's almost extinct? Many geniuses were surprised and puzzled. In the beginning, they thought that the Forgotten Kingdom was not much different from the outside world. However, after seeing many ancient treasures and even primeval variants, they realized that there were many ancient treasures. This was indeed an ancient forgotten land. Ling Yen, Jun Xiaoyao, and the others also landed here. Jun Xiaoyao was also looking around. To be honest, it did not look much different from the outside world. The only difference might be that there seemed to be many ancient mutants and ancient plants that had long been extinct here. It was as if he had returned to ancient times. But Jun Xiaoyao kept feeling that something was wrong, as if he was looking at flowers in the fog. He could also vaguely feel a majestic soul power filling the entire world. This made Jun Xiaoyao suddenly have a ridiculous guess in his heart. Could it be that the Forgotten Kingdom was alive? Chapter 1243. Even Jun Xiaoyao felt that this conjecture was a little ridiculous. However, his primordial spirit of 3 lives was far more sensitive to soul power than other primordial spirit. Jun Xiaoyao felt that the entire Forgotten Nation seemed to have some kind of will that was watching them. As expected of one of the immortal realm's 7 wonders. Jun Xiaoyao sighed secretly. Every single one of them was inconceivable, extremely strange, impossible to guess. The prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies and their companions all entered the Forgotten Nation. After the initial exploration, they all kept a certain distance from each other. However, there was no conflict or battle. After all, they had just entered and did not even know the situation. Moreover, the opportunity had yet to appear, so it was not time for them to fight. Di Haotian was the first to move. He led his group directly in a certain direction. Jun Xiaoyao saw this scene and his eyes darkened. Di Haotian looked very confident, as if he knew the forgotten nation like the back of his hand. This made Jun Xiaoyao even more certain that Di Haotian was a reincarnator. In other words, he had the ability to predict everything. However, Jun Xiaoyao also confirmed that Di Haotian could not predict his movement. Otherwise, Di Haotian would have known that he had already snuck in. Di Haotian did not know, which meant that he did not have the experience of sneaking into the forgotten nation in his memory. In that case, it's much more convenient. It doesn't feel good to be spied on, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Alright, let's go. The entire forgotten nation is vast and can't be explored in a short time, Ling Yan said. The prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies all kept a distance from each other and slowly advanced. The place where they were was an extremely vast plain. After an unknown period of time, suddenly, some dense black dots appeared in front of them. The prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies all had a puzzled look in their eyes. At the same time, they became alert. When they got a little closer, they suddenly realized. Those black dots were all human figures. Those figures were wearing clothes from different eras. Some were from the recent ancient era, and some were from the ancient era. There were also some from even further back. Are these all the living beings that entered the forgotten nation before? A prodigy of the Xian Ting asked in surprise. Something's not right. I feel that something's wrong with them. Yan Xiao, the leader of the Zhurong immortal orthodoxies, frowned. He had flame-like hair and brows and eyebrows. His eyes were like lava. These living beings were numb, as if they did not have their own thoughts. It was as if his soul had been taken away. This was too strange, causing many of the geniuses to feel a chill down their spines. They had only just entered the Forgotten Kingdom, yet they were already encountering such strange things. Suddenly, those figures of the 9 immortals of the 9 great Xian immortal orthodoxies. Everyone's eyes suddenly turned to look at him. There was only numbness and dead silence in their eyes. Whoosh! Those figures suddenly charged towards the prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies. There were even some mystique venerables and godly venerables among them. This was not something that ordinary prodigies could withstand. Retreat! A prodigy shouted. The prodigies of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies and their companions hurriedly scattered. The place was instantly in chaos. Some prodigies were directly grabbed by those numb figures. Those figures opened their mouths and sucking out the primordial spirit of the prodigy. Soul, soul, where is my soul? After sucking out the prodigy's primordial spirit, the numb figure roared at the sky and continued to search for its next prey. Run! Don't kill me! Scram! The place exploded into chaos. After all, there were mystique venerables and godly venerables among those figures. It could be said that apart from the elites of the 9 great immortal orthodoxies, basically, no one could withstand more than a few blows from them. Di Haotian looked nonchalant, as if he was not used to this. A mystique venerables of the walking corpse charged towards him. Di Haotian did not move. Next to him were the eldest and second eldest of the 18 steeds of Yenyun, Yu Hui of the radiant battle form and Yu Mo of the dark king form. The two of them joined forces and blocked the mystique venerable's attack. Let's retreat first. With a flick of his sleeve, Di Haotian led his group and flew in a certain direction. The other immortal orthodoxies did the same and began to disperse. Scram! Xing Yunshan of the Xingtian immortal orthodoxy unleashed his aura and combat strength, forcing a heavenly venerables of the walking corpse to retreat. He also retreated with his group of people. However, not everyone was so lucky. For example, pharmacist Junzi of the Shennong immortal orthodoxy suffered heavy casualties. Only their leader, pharmacist Junzi, and a few others barely managed to escape. Ling Yan's group was also retreating. Don't worry, Your Highness. I will ensure your safety. Qin Yuanqing raised his hand and forced a walking corpse to retreat. Ling Yan did not care at all. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, was very calm and did not even make a move. The others were willing to be laborers, but he was happy to be idle. He really is idle. Qin Yuanqing harumphed when he saw that Jun Xiaoyao did not make a move. Ling Yan's group finally broke through the encirclement and left the plain. Phew, that scared me to death. Lu Fugue wiped the sweat off his face. As the heir of a family of blacksmiths, his combat strength was definitely not high. Of course, the only good thing was that he had many protective artifacts that could ensure his safety. We're finally out. Why did those who entered the Forgotten Nation become like that? Ling Yan breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone present was a little puzzled. However, the Forgotten Nation was mysterious and strange to begin with. It was normal that they did not understand. All right, the journey ahead will only be more dangerous. Everyone, be careful. Ling Yan was the leader of this group. She glanced at Jun Xiaoyao from the corner of her eye. In terms of qualifications and strength, Jun Xiaoyao was worthy of being the leader. However, he was very low-key and was not interested. Although they had entered the Forgotten Nation, Jun Xiaoyao did not need to expose his identity immediately. If he did, it might arouse others' vigilance. Next, Ling Yan, Jun Xiaoyao, and the others began to go deeper into the Forgotten Nation. In the sky ahead, there was a flash of golden light. It was a divine bird whose entire body was shining with golden light, and it carried with it an auspicious aura. That's the Chongming divine bird. It's almost extinct in the outside world. Lu Fugue's eyes lit up. The divine feathers of the Chongming divine bird were treasures used to forge protective artifacts. However, this kind of bird was almost extinct in the outside world. It was impossible to find their divine feathers. Don't cause trouble. That Chongming divine bird is not something that ordinary people can handle. At least you can't handle it, Qin Yuanqing said coldly. Hey you! Lu Fugue glared at him. The two of them did not get along. Along the way, they also saw ancient species such as the scarlet-eyed jade tiger, the nine-winged rain dragon, and the weeping soul beast. They tried their best to avoid them. Of course, they also collected many ancient and rare sacred herbs along the way. Jun Xiaoyao did not do anything. He did not care about these opportunities. After walking for a long time, there seemed to be a dim light flowing in front of them. What's that? Chapter 1244. Everyone's eyes were focused on it. In the Forgotten Nation, it was normal for any kind of opportunity to appear. In the midst of that hazy radiance, it was a pure white flower that looked like a snow lotus from the heavenly mountain. It looked like it was carved out of Linglong's pure white jade, and it was surrounded by a divine aura. However, the flower was still in its bud state and had not bloomed yet. However, everyone could vaguely see it through the translucent petals. In the middle of the flower, there seemed to be a mini fairy dancing. Her movements were graceful, and people could not help but be mesmerized by it. Especially with the layer of flower bud in between, it looked even more hazy. What is that? All the sky prides, including Ling Yan, could not help but look over. To be honest, even someone as noble and knowledgeable as Ling Yuan couldn't tell what kind of flower it was for a moment. Could it be some kind of elixir of immortality, or a treasure of heaven and earth like the 6 paths of reincarnation immortal root? Qin Yuanqing was also very curious. At that moment, the flower seemed to produce a strange attraction. Everyone's eyes were unblinking as they slowly walked towards it. I see some shadows. What is that? Where did I come to? Is that another me? Suddenly, a sky pride muttered to himself with a blank expression. F***ck. What did I just see? A furnace! Lu Fugue screamed. The fat on his face was twitching. F***ck. Even Ling Yuan had a blank expression on her face. She also saw some strange scenes. It looked like the palace of an immortal, surrounded by clouds and smoke. She saw many people worshipping her. There was also a hazy and supreme figure, surrounded by endless emperor's Tao light, lovingly stroking her head. At that moment, the only person who was awake was Jun Xiaoyao. There were no illusions in front of him. However, Jun Xiaoyao noticed that the soul power of all the sky prides present seemed to be slowly being absorbed by the flower. The flower itself had extremely rich soul power, as if it had been accumulating for countless years. Could it be? A thought flashed through Jun Xiaoyao's mind. He remembered those walking corpses from before. Could it be that they became like that because they saw this kind of flower? If that was the case, then this flower was a little too terrifying. At the 7th level of the supreme martial artist realm, there was no one who could resist the attraction of such a flower. But the question was, why wasn't he attracted? Jun Xiaoyao became more and more curious about this flower. Of course, now was not the time to study it. Ling Yan and the others were all confused. Their minds were shaken, as if they had fallen into an illusion. If they were not rescued as soon as possible, it would not be long before they would be like the walking corpses from before. Jun Xiaoyao stepped forward and prepared to pluck the flower. Suddenly, a delicate shout rang out. "All of you, wake up!" Hearing this voice, Jun Xiaoyao was a little surprised and turned to look. Not far away, a group of figures appeared. They were not the dangerous walking corpses from before, but a group of women. The group of women were all dressed in soft armor, looking valiant and formidable. The one who shouted was the leader of the group. Her aura was not weak, at the level of a lesser heavenly venerable. Could it be the indigenous creatures of the forgotten nation? A strange look flashed across Jun Xiaoyao's eyes. Previously, in the immortal ancient world, there were also indigenous races. And in the forgotten nation, there were actually living creatures? After a brief moment of surprise, Jun Xiaoyao directly plucked the flower. As for Ling Yuan and the others, they also recovered a trace of clarity amidst this delicate cry. What's wrong with me? It feels like a dream? The geniuses present were all in a daze. The leader of the group looked at Jun Xiaoyao with a very surprised expression. You are actually not affected by the flower of the past? The group of indigenous women who appeared stared at Jun Xiaoyao as if they were looking at a rare item. Flower of the past? Jun Xiaoyao looked at the crystal-clear flower bud in his hand. This flower is called the flower of the past? It is rare in the immortal realm, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Soon, Ling Yan and the others also recovered. Their expressions were not too good. Everyone was mesmerized by the flower and almost got wiped out. This forgotten kingdom is too dangerous. But brother, why aren't you affected? Lu Fugue looked at Jun Xiaoyao. He was also a natural person. Besides, like Jun Xiaoyao, he did not get along with Qin Yuanqing. Therefore, Lu Fugue was closer to Jun Xiaoyao. I don't know, Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. In fact, he vaguely guessed that it might have something to do with his fateless physique. Anything related to the past, reincarnation, karma, and the like could not affect him. At this time, the leader of the indigenous women said coldly, "This flower is called the flower of the past. Although it is extremely beautiful, it is also extremely terrifying. Rumor has it that this flower can let people see the past, and in the end, even their souls will be taken away." The woman's words made the sky prides present feel a lingering fear. No wonder that group of walking corpses from before was because of the flower of the past. Ling Yan was also very smart. However, she remembered the blurry scene she had seen before. The others also felt the same. Was that really their past? In fact, many people did not believe it. Especially Lu Fugue, who shouted, "I don't believe it. I definitely don't believe it. Why did I see a furnace? Was I a furnace in my past life?" Lu Fugue firmly believed that either he had seen wrongly, or there was something wrong with the flower of the past. He would never admit that he was a furnace spirit. By the way, you are. Ling Yan and the others looked at the group of women. Their attitudes were rather peaceful. However, it was hard to imagine that there were still indigenous living beings in the forgotten country. My name is Yihua, and we are from Womanland. You should be outer beings. Every once in a while, there will be outer beings coming to the Forgotten Land. The woman called Yihua said. Womanland. Ling Yan and the others were puzzled. Lu Fugui's eyes immediately widened. Womanland, just the name alone was very attractive to an old pervert like him. You are lucky. In this Forgotten Land there are a total of 9 countries. Some of them are very hostile to outer beings, such as the demon world and the witch tribe. They must kill outer beings when they see them. And some are relatively peaceful, such as our Womanland. Yihua said. When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. The Forgotten Land gave birth to 9 countries, and Womanland was only one of them. Then can you take us to Womanland to have a look? Ling Yan asked. Now they knew nothing about the Forgotten Country. The attitude of the people of Womanland was not bad, and they might be able to get some information from them. They also needed to find out where the ruins of the ancient Xian Ting were. I can, but these men. Yihua smiled coldly. What, are you looking down on men? Lu Fugui raised his eyebrows. Let's go. I think His Majesty should be interested in you. Yihua said indifferently, waved her hand, and turned to leave. The Womanland King? Jun Xiaoyao's eyes showed a hint of interest. For some reason, he faintly felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell what it was. The Forgotten Country is really interesting. Jun Xiaoyao put away the flower of the past, and his eyes were deep. Chapter 1245. Not long after Jun Xiaoyao and the others left, a group of people suddenly arrived. They were Di Haotian's people. Di Haotian's silver moon-like eyes scanned the place, and a hint of suspicion flashed across his eyes. Why isn't it here? Did I remember wrongly? Di Haotian thought to himself. If he remembered correctly, there should be a past era flower here. For some reason, Di Haotian thought of Jun Xiaoyao again. After all, when he was in the Void Sky world, all his opportunities were taken away by Jun Xiaoyao. It was as if he was the one who was cut off. And now, the same thing was happening again. Of course, Di Haotian only thought for a moment before disappearing. After all, Jun Xiaoyao was seriously injured and was recuperating in the Jun family. How could he come here? It can't be him. Maybe I remembered wrongly. Di Haotian shook his head. Young king, what's wrong? A woman in a white dress with an ethereal temperament asked. It was by Luoxua. Nothing, let's go, Di Haotian said. Although they didn't find the past era flower here, there was more than one in the Forgotten Country. This flower was related to Di Haotian's important plan, so he had to get one. He left with the group to look for it in other places. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao, Ling Yan, and the others went to Womanland under Yihua's lead. On the way, Jun Xiaoyao and the others learned that Yihua was a great general of Womanland. Through her, they learned a little about the situation. There were a total of 9 countries in the periphery of the Forgotten Land. You country, spirit country, demon world, sea territory, sorcerer race, soul race, womanland, centaur race, and demon race. This made Ling Yan sigh. It was as if they had come to a fairy tale kingdom. Among them, there were some that had a better attitude towards the outer realm, such as womanland, feather, spirit, and so on. There were also those who were extremely hostile towards the outer world, such as the demon world, the shaman race, and the spirit race. Ling Yan wanted to ask more questions, such as where the ruins of the ancient Xian Ting were. However, Yihua didn't say anything about this. He only said that he would wait until they met his daughter. After an unknown period of time, a huge city appeared before everyone's eyes. It was different from the ordinary, simple, and grand cities. This city was incomparably exquisite and gorgeous. Even the city walls were inlaid with various pearls and gems. Of course, they weren't limited to just being fancy. They all had practical defensive properties. This is Womanland? The group of people were surprised. This was especially true for Ling Yan and the other girls. When they saw the magnificent city, their beautiful eyes couldn't help but flash with amazement. Yihua led them inside. Within the city, There was no one who wasn't a beautiful woman with a graceful figure. Moreover, they wore skimpy clothes, revealing their flat bellies and white arms. The eyes of those girls were filled with surprise and curiosity as they looked at Ling Yen and the others. To be precise, they were looking at the men in the group. After all, there weren't many men in Womanland. Are those the outer realm creatures? There are also some men among them. It seems like a good idea to catch one as a male slave. Oh right, that fatty is yours. I don't want to. Around him, a group of women were chattering away. At first, Lu Fugue's small eyes were wide open as he thought that he had arrived in heaven. However, when he heard the conversation of those girls, his face darkened. What's wrong? Looking down on the fatty? Don't the fatty have human rights? Lu Fugue was angry. Was he being despised even as a male slave? On the other hand, because of Qin Yuanqing's good looks, the eyes of many girls in Womanland lit up slightly. Qin Yuanqing was very satisfied with this, and the corner of his mouth curled into a faint smile. Sigh, I can't help it. A handsome man like me will attract attention wherever I go. Qin Yuanqing said indifferently with his hands behind his back. Hey you, if you're not a girl, why are you acting cool? Lu Fugue was even more unbalanced in his heart. He turned to Jun Xiaoyao and said, Brother, don't you think this kid needs to be taught a lesson? Seeing this, Qin Yuanqing said with a touch of disdain, He probably doesn't have good looks, so he hides his head and shows his tail. He doesn't dare to show his true face. On the side, Ling Yan, who heard this, silently glanced at Jun Xiaoyao. If Jun Xiaoyao showed his true face, perhaps all the girls in Womanland would go crazy. Jun Xiaoyao, on the other hand, remained calm. He didn't care about the various opinions of others, but used the perception of the three lives' primordial spirit to explore the entire Womanland. He had a nagging feeling that something was amiss. What is wrong? Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Soon, they arrived at a luxurious palace. Under Yi Hua's guidance, they arrived at the palace. A beautiful woman who looked to be in her 20s was sitting high on the throne. She wore a bright red phoenix robe with a cloudy hair and white hair. Her appearance was beautiful, and there was a red dot between her eyebrows, which added a bit of nobility to her. Her figure was excellent, her breasts towering, and her snow-white long legs were crossed under her skirt. She was definitely a woman who could be called a national beauty. Greetings, Your Majesty. Yi Hua knelt on one knee. Then, she turned her head and signaled Ling Yan and the others to kneel as well. But no one knelt. This group of people were either geniuses of immortal lineages or descendants of remote antiquity families. How could they kneel so casually? It doesn't matter, are they the creatures from the outside world? The Queen of Womanland glanced at Ling Yan and the others. You are the Queen of Womanland. To be honest, we don't know much about this forgotten land. But we have no ill intentions towards you, and we won't stay here for long. As the leader of the group, Ling Yan said. In Womanland, there were no experts with terrifying strength. However, if they all swarmed over, Ling Yuan's team would also suffer losses. Don't worry, our Womanland is not the demon world or the witch race. We have no hostility towards you creatures from the outside world. On the contrary, we welcome your arrival. If I'm not wrong, you should be here for the opportunity. The Queen of Womanland said. Ling Yan and the others' eyes lit up. Coincidentally, when the blood moon rises, the three great secret realms will open again. The Queen of Womanland said. 3 great secret realms? Ling Yan and the others were confused. They could guess that the blood moon should be referring to the Mars demon star. And what were the 3 great secret realms? The baptism pool, divine soul pool, and flying immortal waterfall are the opportunities of the 3 great secret realms in this forgotten land. If any country can get it, they will be strong for a long time. Unfortunately, our Womanland is only in the middle of the 9 great countries and is not the strongest. So we have no advantage in fighting for the 3 great secret realms. But I can feel that your strength is not weak. If you are willing to help our womanland fight for one of the secret realms, then you can share the opportunity of the secret realms. The Queen of Womanland's words made Ling Yen and the others' eyes light up. Didn't they come to the Forgotten Country for the opportunity? Although they had no clue about the ancient Xian Ting ruins for the time being. But the opportunity of the three great secret realms would not be small. Chapter 1246. The main problem now is that they don't know the layout of the Forgotten Country. As one of the 7 incredible places, the Forgotten Country is too mysterious. The ancient Xian Ting chose part of the ruins here because they thought it was the safest place. Now Ling Yen and the others only know that the periphery of the Forgotten Country is called the Forgotten Land. The native creatures of the 9 great countries live here. They fight each other for the 3 great secret realms. We agree. Ling Yen nodded. The Daughter King said with satisfaction, "That's good. According to my Daughter King's law, men are either demoted to slaves or expelled. Since you are willing to help, then the law is naturally invalid to you." Hearing this, Lu Fugue muttered, "Then we've dodged a bullet." Jun Xiaoyao didn't comment on this. In fact, from the moment he stepped into the Daughter Country, he has been using his divine sense to sense everything around him. He always felt that the Forgotten Land, the 9 great countries, should have secrets. Okay, you all go down first. After the reorganization, we can set off in a few days. The Daughter King waved her hand. Ling Yen and the others turned and left. At this time, the Daughter King's gaze unconsciously fell on Jun Xiaoyao. Because in the whole team, only he was wearing a black robe with a hood, looking very mysterious. But for some reason, the Daughter King always felt that this black-robed man was the one who hid the deepest in the whole team. A ray of light flashed in the depths of the Daughter King's beautiful eyes. After a few days, the Daughter Country's army was organized. They were all wearing skirt armor, valiant and formidable women. Looking around, there were more than 100,000 people. Looking at the outside world, this is definitely not a number. After all, the Jun family's immortal battle has at least tens of millions of cultivators participating. But this is the Forgotten Land after all, and the 9 great countries are the native residents here. Obviously the number can't be too high. This time, the Daughter King personally led the army. General Yi Hua was also beside her. Ling Yen and the others were naturally among them. They continued to move forward, and after a few days, they came to a place similar to an oasis. An extremely dense spiritual aura was flowing in the air. Everyone looked over. In the oasis, there was a lake that was as calm as a sapphire. It shone with a diamond-like luster. Shockingly, they were all fragmented Taoist laws, which set off the entire lake in a beautiful and magnificent manner. That is the baptism pool. It can baptize one's physical body and primordial spirit, washing away all imperfections and forging a perfect foundation. Yi Hua explained. When Ling Yen and the others heard this, their eyes lit up. Although they were all peerless geniuses, their bodies and primordial spirits were flawless, and their cultivations were extraordinary. But to say that it was absolutely perfect, that was not the case. Even if Jun Xiaoyao was perfect, there would always be a trace of imperfection. This was not a weakness. Instead, it was something that all living beings possess. To put it bluntly, even the heavenly Tao could not be absolutely perfect. It might be a near-perfect existence, but it was definitely not truly perfect. And if there was something that was truly perfect, that could only be the legendary immortals. Of course, this did not mean that everyone would have the potential to become an immortal after being baptized in the baptismal pool. It meant that their physical body and primordial spirit would become even more flawless. Their foundation would be almost perfect, and their cultivation talent, comprehension and other aspects would also skyrocket. This was the meaning of the baptism pool. I must go and take some baptism water back. If I use this water to forge weapons, I might be able to forge a real immortal artifact. Lu Fugue's eyes lit up. The dream of the Liu family for generations was to forge a real immortal artifact. But until now, only the ancestral patriarch of the Liu family had forged a pseudo-immortal artifact. And this was already the record of the deity region. There were also rumors that all the immortal artifacts in the deity region were passed down and not forged by later generations. One could imagine that if the Liu family forged an immortal artifact, their status and prestige would obviously be incomparable to now. It could be said that Ling Yan and the other geniuses' eyes were burning with passion. Even Jun Xiaoyao was a little curious. To put it bluntly, in terms of perfection, even Ling Yan's physical body and primordial spirit were far inferior to his. Just as everyone was getting excited, the ground suddenly shook, and smoke filled the air in the distance. Shocking battle intent swept over. Here, the daughter king's eyes were filled with a hint of seriousness. However, in the next moment, her peerlessly beautiful face changed once more. This was because from another direction, another group of soldiers was rushing over in a grandiose manner. Two groups of people have arrived at the same time. General Yi Hua's expression also changed. The number of people in the two groups was no less than that of the daughter country. A game of chess between three forces would inevitably produce more variables. Oh, daughter country, I didn't expect you to have the courage to fight for the baptism pool. An indifferent voice sounded, coming from one of the two groups of people. It was the demon world of the 9 great nations. The one who spoke was a young man wearing pitch-black armor and holding a blood-stained spear. His aura was that of a great heavenly venerable. Although he looked young, his real age was probably not too young. In addition, this was a forgotten nation with all kinds of mysteries. The strength of the living beings here could not be compared to the deity region outside. Demon Crown Prince, the daughter king's expression was cold. Clearly, this was a famous monstrous expert of the demon world. On the other side, another voice came. If I'm not wrong, that group should be the living beings of the outer realm. Is that the source of your daughter country's confidence? The one who spoke was wearing a black sorcerer robe and holding a white boned staff. It was an expert of the sorcerer race, Tian Wuzi. Tian Wuzi, why don't we join forces and destroy the daughter country and these living beings of the outer realm? The demon crown prince sneered. No problem. The 3 great secret realms are the struggle of our 9 great nations. There is no need for outsiders to interfere. Tian Wuzi's tone was also cold. Haha, that's great. After all, this crown prince wants to turn the daughter king into my personal slave. The demon crown prince said arrogantly. Impudent, how dare you insult Her Majesty the Queen? General Yi Hua coldly rebuked, anger surging in her beautiful eyes. The demon crown prince did not care. He casually swept his gaze and saw Ling Yan. His eyes were filled with surprise. This woman of the outer realm is even nobler than the daughter king. Interesting. In that case, this crown prince can spare your life. Ling Yan's face was cold, and her heart was filled with anger. This demon crown prince dared to have designs on her? However, before Ling Yan could make a move, Qin Yuanqing's heart stirred. His chance to show off had come. You're courting death. Young Emperor Ling Yan is not someone you can insult. Qin Yuanqing's aura was also at the lesser heavenly venerate realm. After Jun Xiaoyao broke through to the lesser heavenly venerate realm, Ling Yan and some other monstrous geniuses also gradually broke through to the lesser heavenly venerate realm. However, in terms of true combat strength, they were obviously not comparable to Jun Xiaoyao. Not everyone could be like Jun Xiaoyao, who could kill a great heavenly venerate with a single punch. However, Qin Yuanqing was confident. Even if he could not defeat the demon crown prince, he could at least stall for a while and express his desire to protect Ling Yan. In an instant, a chaotic battle between the 3 nations broke out. Chapter 1247. On the chaotic battlefield, millions of creatures fought against each other. All kinds of sword auras, demonic auras, and nomological lights flashed and collided. Qin Yuanqing, on the other hand, was very unyielding. He directly attacked the demon crown prince. The entire battlefield was in chaos. The other members of his entourage also made their move. Among them, Lu Fugue was the most violent. He directly took out many divine weapons from his spatial artifact. A large number of creatures were killed or injured. As for Jun Xiaoyao, he was very calm. He didn't even make a move. After all, for someone like him, who had experienced the immortal war and the war between the two worlds, a battle of this level was indeed no different from children playing house. Even now, he was still thinking about what the 9 great nations meant. However, there was no doubt about the opportunity in the baptismal pool. It would be of some help to him. At this moment, a muffled scream was heard. It was Qin Yuanqing. He was injured by the demon crown prince. He spat out blood and was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. Jun Xiaoyao secretly shook his head when he saw this. Why did he not care about Qin Yuanqing's provocation? Because this person was not even worthy of his attention, nor was he qualified to make him attack. At this moment, a ray of light flashed out. Ling Yan made a move to fight the demon crown prince. Qin Yuanqing swallowed a healing pill and seemed to sense some gazes. He turned to look at Jun Xiaoyao. What are you looking at? If you make a move, you won't be able to block a single move from the demon crown prince. Jun Xiaoyao ignored him. On the other side, Tian Wuzi of the sorcerer race also made a move. His target was the Daughter King. As long as the Daughter King was suppressed, the army of the Daughter Kingdom would definitely be in chaos. How dare you! General Yihua wanted to stop them, but he was held back by the other sorcerer race powerhouses. The Daughter King was calm when she saw this. She released her aura. She was also a great heavenly venerate. The creatures of the forgotten nations could not be treated the same as those of the outside world. The battle between the two sides was naturally intense. Suddenly, Tian Wuzi took out a large black bell. It seemed to be made of dark universe dark gold and was engraved with many ancient sorcerer race characters. Sorcerer God Bell. Under this kind of suppression, the female king was immediately forced back, blood flowing from the corner of her mouth. Your womanland wants to fight for the 3 great secret realms? That's just a fool's dream. Master Tian Witchcraft continued to suppress. The strength of a great Empyrean combined with the witch god Bell was enough to completely suppress the female king. The female king also took out a painting scroll, which exuded dazzling divine light and Tao laws. However, if this were to drag on, the situation would not be good for womanland. After all, they were fighting 1 against 2. Jun Xiaoyao finally moved. He had no interest in a war of this level. However, if he wanted to obtain the baptismal pool, he had to end the chaos in front of him. With a flicker, Jun Xiaoyao appeared in the middle of the battle between Tian Wuzi and the female monarch. Tian Wuzi had wanted to use the sorcerer god Bell to suppress the queen. However, a black-robed figure suddenly appeared in between them. The queen's phoenix eyes flashed. Without saying a word, Jun Xiaoyao punched out. The void in front of him was torn apart. The sorcerer god Bell exploded with a clang, and metal fragments flew everywhere. Tian Wuzi did not even have time to be shocked before he was killed by a single punch. There was dead silence in all directions. General Yihua looked at the scene in front of him in a daze. It turned out that this black-robed person was the strongest among this group of outer realm beings. He killed a great Empyrean with a single punch? Qin Yuanqing was stunned when he saw that. Is he not a prodigy of the younger generation? Qin Yuanqing could not believe it. If he was really a prodigy of the younger generation, how many of them could be so powerful? F*CK, this guy is the one with the deepest secret. Lu Fugue was also stunned by what he saw. Jun Xiaoyao was indifferent to the exclamations from all directions. He turned to the female king and asked, "Are you okay?" The female king also came back to her senses and took a deep look at Jun Xiaoyao. "Thank you. On the other side, the demon crown prince's expression changed when he saw this scene. However, he felt that Ling Yan, who was fighting with him, seemed to be getting more and more vicious. It was as if he was venting his anger on him. Ling Yan also saw the scene of Jun Xiaoyao saving the female king. But for some reason, he was a little unhappy. Jun Xiaoyao did not help him deal with the demon crown prince first, but went to save the female king and save the female king. In the end, Ling Yan took out the Heavenly Emperor's throne mark, which carried a suppressive force. Even the demon crown prince could not deal with it. Of course, what he was more afraid of was Jun Xiaoyao making a move. Not long after, the army of the demon world and the sorcerer race fled in defeat. The female soldiers of Womanland immediately cheered. Countless gazes fell on Jun Xiaoyao. To be honest, they were getting more and more curious about this black-robed person. I really wonder what kind of person he is. Could he be the same as that fatty? How is that possible? He's such a powerful expert. He should be extremely graceful and outstanding. In Womanland, the status of men was very low. But as long as one was a human, they would worship the strong. This was an unchanging law. Jun Xiaoyao was able to earn the respect of others simply by demonstrating sufficient strength. Hey, praise him, why do you have to drag me into it? Lu Fugue was simply lying down and getting shot. However, he was also more curious about Jun Xiaoyao than before. As for Qin Yuanqing, his face was a little ugly. Just now, he said that Jun Xiaoyao would definitely not be able to block a single move from the Demon Crown Prince. But now, he had killed the Heavenly Witchcraft Master, who was on the same level as the Demon Crown Prince, with a single strike. But after seeing Jun Xiaoyao's strength, Qin Yuanqing did not dare to be as unscrupulous as before. After all, this was the Forgotten Country. If this black-robed person really wanted to kill him, he would have nowhere to cry out. What a good play of the hero saving the beauty. Ling Yan opened his mouth and said. But listening to it, there seemed to be a kind of jealousy in the air. As a woman, the Womanland King obviously noticed it. She could feel that Ling Yan's identity should be extremely extraordinary in the outside world. And such an extraordinary woman seemed to be jealous of this black-robed person. He had undoubtedly aroused the Womanland King's interest. I think we should focus on the opportunity in the baptismal pool first, Jun Xiaoyao said. If not for the 3 secret realms, he would be too lazy to make a move. Next, everyone came to the baptismal pool. Of course, not everyone was qualified. The baptismal pool was divided into several areas. The outer area, the central area, and the core area. From the baptismal effect, it was obvious that the core area had the best effect. But it was obviously not something that ordinary people were qualified to enjoy. Most of the Womanland King's female soldiers could only absorb the baptismal air around the baptismal pool. A small number of Womanland's elites could cultivate in the outer area. As for General Yihua, Ling Yan, Lu Fugue, Qin Yuanqing, and the others, they could cultivate in the central area. Only the Womanland King could enjoy the inner area. However, the Womanland King looked at Jun Xiaoyao. You deserve the most credit in this battle. Come with me. There was a dead silence. Chapter 1248. Everyone, including General Yihua and the others, was dumbfounded. They didn't expect the Daughter King to invite a man. Although it wasn't a shared bath. But in the baptismal pool, it was inevitable to get wet. Logically speaking, the core area was a forbidden area exclusive to the Daughter King. Then it would be impolite for me to refuse. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. In fact, even if the Daughter King didn't say it, he would have. Jun Xiaoyao wanted to get the best of the opportunities he had. Even if the Daughter King didn't agree, Jun Xiaoyao was prepared to use force. But obviously, the Daughter King was quite sensible, which was why Jun Xiaoyao chose to help her. However, Jun Xiaoyao vaguely felt that there was a resentful gaze like a resentful wife staring at him. Jun Xiaoyao said again, I wonder if I can make another request? Say it. The daughter king glanced at Jun Xiaoyao. Let her join us. Jun Xiaoyao pointed at Ling Yan. Ling Yan's expression still didn't change much, but the corners of her mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. Damn, one is not enough. You want a dragon and 2 phoenixes? Lu Fugue widened his small eyes. Although he had 300 wives and concubines and often exercised with many people. But even 300 wives and concubines added together couldn't compare to Ling Yan and the daughter king. As for Qin Yuanqing, his face had already turned purple. He originally planned to show off in front of Ling Yan and curry favor. But now, he had become a joke. Soon, Jun Xiaoyao, the daughter king, and Ling Yan came to the deepest part of the baptismal pool. The environment was very quiet, and there were only the 3 of them. Jun Xiaoyao was able to tell that the place was an extremely special place for cultivation. Even just by breathing, he could feel that his soul was clear and his body was slowly becoming transparent like a crystal. As long as you are a human, you will always have flaws. You can't reach absolute perfection. This is the shackle of heaven and earth. My body and primordial spirit are almost perfect. Now, if I cultivate with the baptismal water, my talent and comprehension should be able to reach a higher level. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. The effect of the baptismal pool couldn't immediately increase his cultivation, but it could improve his talent and comprehension to a higher level. Jun Xiaoyao had always been a freak among freaks of nature. If he could reach a higher level, it would be unimaginable. Would probably reach the legendary level of the king of anomalies. That kind of existence was able to threaten the stability of the heavenly axiom, and there were only a few of existence. Children of the dimension, people of great providence, protagonists of destiny, in terms of talent and cultivation speed, they were all trash in front of the king of anomalies. Even the 8 children of the Heaven clan were blessed by the heavenly Tao and had fused with the heavenly Tao crown. But in front of the king of anomalies, it was definitely not enough. And Jun Xiaoyao's current aptitude was developing in this direction. As an exception, I have already attracted the attention of the immortal domain's will. If I really become the king of anomalies, I'm afraid the heavenly clan won't be able to sit still. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. He felt that if he really succeeded in the baptismal pool, the 8 gods wouldn't be able to sit still and would come out to deal with him. Then, the 3 of them didn't say much and fell into cultivation. Ling Yan and his daughter, the king, both fell into the baptismal pool. The wet dress outlined a faintly discernible beautiful curve. It could be said to be seductive. It could be said that if any man were to come here, they would definitely be tempted. Jun Xiaoyao was very calm, and his attention was focused on cultivation. As time passed, Jun Xiaoyao felt that his originally flawless body and primordial spirit seemed to have become even clearer. It was as if he had merged with heaven and earth. Every inch of his skin, bones, flesh, and blood seemed to be in accordance with the perfect Great Tao. This seemed to be the most perfect treasure body in the world. Even the incarnation of the heavenly Tao was only SOSO. Most importantly, Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit of 3 lives was also becoming clearer. He could clearly feel the bottleneck of his primordial spirit. That was the bottleneck from the boundless level to the eternal sand level. Although Jun Xiaoyao had already absorbed a large amount of soul power of the heroic spirits in the void sky realm. At that time, he hadn't broken through to the heavenly venerable realm, so his primordial spirit was still stuck at the last step. But now, Jun Xiaoyao had already reached the heavenly venerable realm. He only needed one last burst of energy to break through to the eternal sand level. At that time, his primordial spirit would be as numerous as the sand in the Ganges River. It would be even more difficult to destroy his primordial spirit. However, I need one last bit of strength. A thought flashed through Jun Xiaoyao's mind. Wasn't there still the divine soul pool in the 3 great secret realms? That should be able to help his primordial spirit break through to the eternal sand level. However, for now, Jun Xiaoyao was still focused on the transformation of his talent. With many devouring abilities, Jun Xiaoyao could naturally easily refine the energy of the baptismal pool. However, the fluctuations of swallowing and absorbing made Ling Yan and the queen look sideways. Jun Xiaoyao is too ferocious when he cultivates, isn't he? Ling Yan couldn't help but think to herself. Suddenly she thought of something. Was Jun Xiaoyao also so difficult to satisfy in other aspects? Ling Yan's pretty face blushed. It was better to keep such a terrible thought in her heart. After an unknown period of time. At a certain moment, Jun Xiaoyao felt that his body, including his primordial spirit, seemed to have turned into transparent crystals. Every single bit, every single inch was incomparably transparent. It was as if every cell was in line with the perfect Great Tao. This kind of perfection did not come from the Great Tao rules of the immortal realm. Instead, it came from his own inner universe. That was his own Tao. As Jun Xiaoyao was having the strange feeling, a thunderous voice suddenly exploded in the 9 heavens immortal realm. What's going on? What's going on? Could it be that an expert is undergoing the tribulation of the martial monarch realm? No, it feels like the heavens are enraged. The experts in the 9 heavens immortal realm were astounded when they heard the voice. However, they were confused. They had no idea what was going on. Only some of the older, more ancient antiques were astounded by the situation. Could it be that someone like that has really appeared? Previously, the son of God of the Jun clan was known as the rare exception. He even dared to challenge the heavens. Could it be that someone even more talented than the son of God of the Jun clan has appeared? As I thought, all kinds of monsters have appeared in this golden era. The king of rare exception is someone that can threaten the stability of the heavens path. Just as many old antiques were bewildered in an extremely mysterious sealed ancient world. An old man in a blue robe was sitting in front of an ancient wall. There were countless light dots and lines on the ancient wall. The light dots and lines were constantly flickering and flowing, as if they were the veins of fate for all living beings. Suddenly, a small black dot appeared in the middle of it. It looked extremely tiny, weak, and insignificant, like a black dot the size of an ant. However, the black dot was not connected to any light dots or lines, as if it was an independent existence. It was impossible to tell what kind of existence the black dot was. However, the old man in a blue robe frowned slightly when he saw the black dot. As the one facing the wall of the Heaven tribe, he knew what it meant. A king of rare exception that could threaten the stability of the heavens path had appeared. Chapter 1249. What was an anomaly? Those that did not make sense were called anomalies. And what did it mean by not making sense? He had a heaven-defying cultivation speed and terrifying comprehension ability. His talent far surpassed that of ordinary monstrous geniuses. He did not walk the ordinary path of Tao validation. They might even be able to jump out of the 3 realms and the 5 elements. There might only be a handful of such existences in every epoch. Jun Xiaoyao was publicly acknowledged as an anomaly in the 9 heavens immortal realm. Even his father, Jun Wuhui, was considered an anomaly by many. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to be so outstanding. However, there was something even scarier than the anomaly. It was the king of anomalies. Rumors said it could threaten the order of the heavenly Tao. If it was said that there were 3 to 5 outliers in every era, then there would be 3 to 5 outliers. However, the king of anomalies might only appear once every few eras or even longer. The existence could control their own fate and break through the limit. They would become unbelievably strong. They might even create their own worlds and form their own heavenly Tao. They would not be restricted by the rules of the heavenly Tao. It was the reason why the king of anomalies could threaten the stability of the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao would not allow anything beyond its control in this world. Meanwhile, the Heaven tribe claimed to be the people of the heavens. They were loyal to the heavens. The old man in a blue robe was the person facing the wall of the Heaven tribe. He was a great authority. As the person facing the wall, his only responsibility was to sit in front of the stone wall of fate and observe the heavens and earth. He would immediately discover anything that could threaten the stability of the heavenly Tao. However, the little black dot was the king of anomalies. Even though he was discovered, no one knew who he was. I can't predict his fate? How is that possible? The person facing the wall of the Heaven tribe was astounded. Even though the king of anomalies was extremely rare, it was not like they had never appeared before. The Heaven tribe had once eliminated one with their own hands. The king of anomalies might be extremely outstanding, but it was still possible to eliminate them before they reached their full potential. Could it be? The person facing the wall of the Heaven tribe recalled something even more forbidden. His expression also became a little more solemn. He let out a sigh. Sigh, this is a prosperous era or a chaotic era. Everything is changing, but the heavenly Tao exists forever. After a sigh, the Grey Clan cultivator fell silent. On the other side, in the ancient world of the Grey Clan called the Grey World, a voice rang out from somewhere. Oh? His Excellency facing the wall has announced that the King of Anomalies has appeared. It just so happens that this Taoist wants to make a trip out of the realm to settle some matters. You took away my opportunity and killed my servant. Jun Xiaoyao of the Jun family, how much longer can you run rampant in front of me? The owner of this voice was none other than Heavenly Cycle Daozi, one of the 8 scions of the heavens. And there were 7 other existences with the same status as him. A battle between the 8 sons of heaven to hunt down the king of Divergent was about to begin. Of course, this was before the identity of the king of anomalies was revealed. As an anomaly, Jun Xiaoyao, who had once fought against the heavens, would obviously receive the attention of the 8 sons of heaven. The outside world naturally had no idea. Beneath the surface of the water, there was a huge force hidden behind the scenes, the Grey Clan. He was finally going to step onto the stage in this golden era. The appearance of the 8 sons of heaven, who were blessed by the heavens, was enough to crush almost all the seed-level prodigies in the mystic realm. Except for a few prodigies from a few forces, such as the Xian Ting, the Underworld, the Jun family, some Archean royalty, and the Holy Spirit. The other prodigies, including some seed-level prodigies, were not even qualified to fight against the 8 sons of heaven. And even the prodigies of these major forces were only qualified to fight against the 8 sons of heaven. Jun Xiaoyao, who was in the Forgotten Nation, naturally did not know about the changes in the outside world. He also did not know that his cultivation would cause such a huge commotion in the Grey Clan. Even the 8 sons of heaven were about to appear because of this. At this moment, in the baptism pool, Jun Xiaoyao had a special feeling. His body was a Bodhi tree. His heart was as clear as a mirror. Every move seemed to fit the perfect great Tao. Previously, he had been comprehending the sacred physique phenomenon through the desolate emperor's blood. But just like that, he suddenly had a kind of understanding of the remaining 2 sacred physique phenomena. It did not mean that he directly comprehended them all at once. It was that he had accumulated a lot of knowledge before. Now, after the baptism and transformation, everything was integrated. He completely comprehended the last 2 phenomena of the sacred physique of the ancient. Could it be that my talent is not even enough to be described as an ancient anomaly, but I've become the king of anomalies? Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself as he experienced the changes in his body and primordial spirit. His body was like a Bodhi tree, transparent and clear, and fit the great Tao. And his primordial spirit was like a mirror, pure and flawless. That bottleneck no longer existed. Next, as long as he had enough energy, he could break through to the eternal sand-level primordial spirit. That would be a new world. But why do I feel that even the king of anomalies is not the end of the talent? Jun Xiaoyao was doubtful. His body was like a Bodhi tree, and his heart was as clear as a mirror. This was definitely an extremely high-grade Tao realm. But it was not the highest. Well, it's hard to find a king of anomalies in many eras. Now it's enough. Jun Xiaoyao did not mind. He was also confident that in the future, his talent would definitely reach the ultimate perfection, because his goal was to surpass all the existences of ancient and modern times and reach the absolute supreme realm. After the baptism, the daughter king and Ling Yan both looked at Jun Xiaoyao in surprise. Although Jun Xiaoyao was still the same as before, wearing a black robe and looking very calm and reserved. But they always felt that Jun Xiaoyao had some kind of indescribable change. It seems that you have also gained a lot, sir. The daughter king smiled slightly. It was very beautiful. Compared to before, her attitude had obviously changed. After attaining the King of Anomalies aptitude, Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit was also like a mirror. He could see things more clearly than before. He began to see some clues. You flatter me. Thank you, Your Majesty, for allowing me to train here. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. Watching the interaction between the two, Ling Yan became an outsider. She was a little unhappy in her heart. Well, let's go. Ling Yan snorted coldly. The daughter king did not mind. A burst of light flowed on the two women's delicate bodies, and the moisture was immediately evaporated. The three of them walked out of the baptism pool. At this time, the others were almost done with their baptism. Qin Yuanqing, Lu Fugue, and the others also had some gains. Especially Lu Fugue. He directly used a spatial artifact to store a small pond of baptism water. This made Yi Hua and the other women of the daughter kingdom look at him with disdain. Seeing Jun Xiaoyao and the two women walk out, Qin Yuanqing was naturally jealous. But he was not stupid. Now he could be considered honest and did not dare to casually mock Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao did not care about him at all. It was not that Jun Xiaoyao had become a saint. It was that this kind of ant, he did not put them in his eyes at all. He was only willing to move his finger to those who could be in his eyes. At this time, Yi Hua said, Your Majesty, are we going back home now? The female king subconsciously glanced at Jun Xiaoyao when she heard what he said. Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently, Since there are 3 great secret realms, why only fight for one? Hearing this, all the women of the daughter kingdom were stunned. Did he want to swallow all of them? Chapter 1250. Jun Xiaoyao naturally wouldn't give up just like that. He still needed to use the Divine Soul Pond to break through the primordial spirit level. And the flying fairy waterfall was obviously a good thing. It was very likely that in the entire Forgotten Land outside the Forgotten Nation, these were the 3 greatest opportunities. But when the people of Womanland heard this, they were all extremely surprised. After all, there had never been a nation that could occupy 2 secret realms. I think that's a good idea. The daughter king nodded slightly. General Yi Hua and the others wanted to dissuade her, but when they saw the look on her face, they knew that it was useless. Next, after everyone reorganized, they headed to the next secret realm. And at the Divine Soul Pond, they met the demons and centaurs of the 9 great nations. But with Jun Xiaoyao and the others, the result was naturally obvious. The 2 nations fled in panic. Jun Xiaoyao and the others also entered the Divine Soul Pond. It was the same as at the baptism pool. Jun Xiaoyao activated the Devour Law, and the vast energy of the Divine Soul Pond was absorbed by him to break through the shackles of the primordial spirit. In the end, Jun Xiaoyao only heard the sound of glass breaking in his mind. In an instant, he felt that the world was clear. In his eyes, everything seemed to have nowhere to hide. Even a speck of dust floating in the void thousands of miles away was incomparably fine in his perception. Jun Xiaoyao felt that the power of his primordial spirit seemed to have formed a vast and mighty river that stretched for hundreds of millions of miles, deep into the end of the universe. His primordial spirit level had finally broken through the boundless level and reached the eternal sand level. An eternal sand-level primordial spirit, with a thought. The primordial spirit was as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River, endless and endless. It could be said that among the seven supremes, even a Chaos Tao master wanted to kill Jun Xiaoyao's primordial spirit. It was an extremely difficult thing, because Jun Xiaoyao could instantly disperse his primordial spirit and turn it into countless primordial spirit light spot. Even a Chaos Tao master would find it difficult to destroy all the primordial spirit light in an instant. This was the heaven-defying aspect of an eternal sand-level primordial spirit. Otherwise, why would it be called the eternal sands grade? And there was another point. When deducing any cultivation technique or mystique, the eternal sand grade primordial spirit also had terrifying deductive abilities. If the boundless primordial spirit was compared to a supercomputer, that eternal sand-level primordial spirit was like countless supercomputers. There was a qualitative difference between the two. Jun Xiaoyao exhaled softly. After breaking through to the eternal sands primordial spirit stage, it would be much faster for him to create his own cultivation technique or continue to understand his own origin Dao mystique. Generally speaking, only quasi-emperors and above who specialize in the cultivation of the primordial spirit can cultivate a eternal sand-level primordial spirit. As for me, I already cultivated it when I was in the celestial venerable realm. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself, a minor 1,000 realms of the innerverse, and a primordial spirit of the eternal sands. These weren't things that could be cultivated at the 7th level of the supreme martial artist realm. However, Jun Xiaoyao had managed to cultivate all of them. It could be said that if one didn't talk about realms, even some quasi-emperor experts might not be able to compare to his accumulations. This was because even for a quasi-emperor, it was very difficult for them to have an inner universe at the level of a small kiliacosm. After breaking through, Jun Xiaoyao's soul perception was more than 1,000 times stronger than before. The world seemed to have become transparent in his eyes. Nothing could escape his perception. And when he looked at the daughter king, he finally understood. Just where did that strange feeling come from? The forgotten nation is really interesting. Jun Xiaoyao didn't immediately point it out. Instead, he became more and more interested in the flying immortal waterfall. Sir, are you thinking about the flying immortal waterfall? Among the 3 great mystic realms, the flying immortal waterfall is the place with the most intense battles. The Yu nation, the Spirit nation, the Soul tribe, and other strong nations will all fight for the flying immortal waterfall, the daughter king said. It's okay. As long as you trust me, we will fight for it, Jun Xiaoyao said. The daughter king had a long hair and a beautiful face. She looked at Jun Xiaoyao with her beautiful eyes and said, I can feel that Sir's aura is much stronger than before. I believe you. That's good. Jun Xiaoyao also nodded slightly. When Ling Yuan saw this scene, her heart was filled with jealousy. She actually felt a little regretful. If she had known, she wouldn't have brought Jun Xiaoyao here. When they heard that the daughter king was going to fight for the flying immortal waterfall, General Yihua and the others didn't know what to say. They all looked at Jun Xiaoyao. This outsider's strength was so terrifying. But they couldn't go against the daughter king's orders. Soon, after a round of reorganization, they set off again. The flying immortal waterfall was located at the core of the forgotten nation. Among the 3 great mystic realms, it was the most fiercely contested. It was rumored that the flying immortal waterfall contained the blood of a remnant immortal. Only when the Chaos Fiend star appeared would the mystic realms, including the flying immortal waterfall, be revealed. This was an oasis in the middle of the Gobi Desert. The spiritual energy was dense and the brilliance lingered, as if it was a crystal gem embedded in the Gobi Desert. This was the flying immortal waterfall of the 3 great mystic realms. Looking around, there was a waterfall in the oasis, like the Milky Way falling from the 9 heavens. Immortal energy lingered, and the light of the laws was dazzling. Vaguely, there were various auspicious divine beasts, such as the mystic bird, the qilin, the vermilion bird, the kuanpung, and so on. It made people understand at a glance that if they sat cross-legged and cultivated here, the benefits would be endless. At this moment the earth was trembling. In the distance, a black army attacked. It was the team of Womanland. That's the flying immortal waterfall? Jun Xiaoyao took a look and thought to himself. The baptism pool transformed his talent into the king of anomalies. The divine soul pool made his primordial spirit break through to the eternal sand level. And the most mysterious flying immortal waterfall, what kind of transformation could it bring to him? Jun Xiaoyao was looking forward to it. However, at this moment, in other directions there were also vast and mighty teams rushing over. Regarding this, Womanland had already expected it. If anyone stepped close to the flying immortal waterfall, they would immediately attract the attention of the other countries. The first to arrive was the Spirit Nation. Similarly, there were hundreds of thousands of people. And to Ling Yan and the others' surprise, in the Spirit Nation they saw a familiar figure. It was actually the people of immortal Tsongjie's unified lineage. The leader was naturally immortal Tsongjie's seed, Songju. In addition, there was also the Son of Truth and Mo Yenyu of the Mo family. The Son of Truth. Jun Xiaoyao's eyes were deep. Enemies were bound to meet. That little girl is also here. Lu Fugue's expression was also not very good. Mo Yenyu and the others had obviously also noticed this side. When she saw Lu Fugue, a cold smile appeared on her face. Although Ling Yan was present, this kind of opportunity fight would not be given away just because Ling Yan was here. Then, one of the 9 great nations, the Ocean Territory, also came, and the ones cooperating with them were Mingya of Gonggong, immortal Tsongjie, and other prodigies. Then, the Soul Race also came, and with them were the prodigies of Xingtian, immortal Tsongjie. Xing Yunshin, Long Xuani, and the others were also there. Finally, the people of Unation also showed up, and with them were the prodigies of Fuxi, immortal Tsongjie. However, Di Haotian, Gu Tizi, and the others were not there. Leading them were the prodigies of the 18 steeds of Yenyun, Purple Flame, Heavenly Monarch, and the others. In an instant, the 5 nations and forces gathered outside the flying immortal waterfall. Yi Hua's expression turned a little ugly. Shouldn't we not get involved? Chapter 1251. Don't worry, let's wait and see. The daughter king was rather calm. She glanced at Jun Xiaoyao from the corner of her eye. For some reason, this man who had been hiding his identity all this while. She always had an inexplicable confidence. It was as if no matter how difficult the situation was, he would be able to solve it easily. Even now it was the same. There was not the slightest hint of panic on his body. Could it be that he still has some tricks up his sleeve? The daughter king couldn't help but think. Right now, Unation, Spirit Nation, Soul Nation, Ocean Territory, and Womanland. The 5 nations were fighting for supremacy. One could imagine that if they didn't have any tricks up their sleeves, Womanland would suffer heavy losses. This was because the other 4 nations were considered to be relatively strong among the 9 nations. If Womanland insisted on fighting for supremacy, there wouldn't be any benefit. Young Emperor Lingyan, looks like you're also interested in the soaring immortal waterfall. Xing Yun, god of Xingtian, immortal orthodoxy, had a faint smile on his face. In the outside world, with Ling Yan's identity, even the seed-level prodigies of other immortal orthodoxies had to respect him. But this was the forgotten nation. In front of an opportunity, no one would be modest. Even more so, no one would give up the opportunity just because of Ling Yan's identity. If you all want to fight, of course, it's a fair competition. Ling Yan was also very relaxed. She didn't use her identity as a young emperor to pressure others, because she knew it was useless. The soaring immortal waterfall is rumored to contain the blood of a remnant immortal. It's the greatest opportunity in this forgotten nation. It's indeed interesting. Songju of Tsongjie, immortal orthodoxy, said lightly. His aura was restrained, and the surface of his robe seemed to be written with many ancient words. This immortal orthodoxy originated from a mythical emperor who created words, and each word had an inexplicable power. On the other side, Purple Flame Lord of Heaven's attitude was rather casual. He looked at Ling Yan and said, "Don't worry, you're the current generation's young emperor after all. When the time comes, I'll leave you some face." Purple Flame Lord of Heaven's personality, he was the type to be arrogant. Even when facing Dihaotian, he had a desire to challenge and not be too respectful. Not to mention Ling Yan. Ling Yan's face was cold. After that, there wasn't much nonsense to be said. The air was filled with a murderous aura. The competition between the 5 countries was definitely intense. However, just when the atmosphere was as tense as a string, Jun Xiaoyao calmly walked out. No one present was able to understand what was going on. Jun Xiaoyao only said one sentence. "Don't look at me." The people from the other lineages and nations didn't know what this meant, so they were confused. However, the people of Womanland, Ling Yuan and the others immediately reacted. She understood what Jun Xiaoyao meant. None of them looked at Jun Xiaoyao again. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand, and a ball of light appeared in his hand. In that radiance, it was a pure white flower bud that looked like a snow lotus from Tianshan Mountain. It was as if it was carved out of sparkling and translucent white jade. It was enshrouded in celestial energy and carried a sense of mystery. In the center of the flower bud, there seemed to be a mini celestial being dancing. Her dancing posture was graceful, and people couldn't help but be immersed in it. It was the flower of the past that Jun Xiaoyao had plucked previously. Jun Xiaoyao looked at this flower, but he didn't seem to be affected at all. He wasn't affected by the flower of the past before. Now that his primordial spirit had broken through and reached the eternal sand level, it was even more impossible for him to be affected by the flower of the past. As for the people of Womanland, they didn't look at that flower. However, the geniuses of the other 4 countries and immortal lineages all subconsciously looked at the flower of the past. Then, many people's expressions froze. Their eyes suddenly revealed a look of confusion. "If you don't make a move now, when will you?" Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. The queen immediately reacted, and her beautiful eyes revealed a look of surprise. Is this his method? Although it's simple, it's the most direct and effective. The queen waved her arm. The army of Womanland immediately moved. Some of the weaker cultivators of the other 4 countries were completely immersed in it and couldn't extricate themselves. Even some of the stronger cultivators and strong-willed experts were shaken. Of course, not everyone was powerless to resist. For example, the Purple Flame Heavenly Lord, Xing Yunshin, Long Xuani, Songju, Mingya, and other supreme geniuses all used their own methods. They had some special protective Dharma artifacts or primordial spirit weapons that could barely maintain a trace of clarity in their mind. "Damn it, we've been tricked!" "What's that?" "Retreat first." If they knew in advance, they might have taken precautions and wouldn't be in this state. However, things happened too suddenly, and they could only retreat temporarily. However, Ling Yan and the others obviously wouldn't hold back. As the young emperor of Xianting, Ling Yan wouldn't kill all of these immortal lineages. However, he could still injure them and make them lose their competitiveness. For a moment, the scene was chaotic. The army of Womanland also made a move. The armies of the other 4 countries were either mesmerized by the flowers of the past or fled in panic. They were utterly defeated. Who would have thought that Jun Xiaoyao was able to secure victory with a single flower? "Little girl, didn't you want to deal with me? Now you want to run away?" Seeing the graceful Mo Yenyu take out her primordial spirit weapon and try to escape, Lu Fugue gritted his teeth and sneered. The Mo family and the Lu family were competitors. Both of them were extremely famous forging families. Lu Fugue immediately took out all kinds of Dharma artifacts and suppressed Mo Yenyu. "You damn fatty!" Mo Yenyu's beautiful cheeks flushed red with anger. She gritted her teeth. You shrewish little girl, who told you to pick on me every day. Now you're going to fall into my hands. Lu Fugui smiled evilly, and the fat on his face trembled. Mo Yinyu's face turned pale. If she really fell into the hands of this disgusting fatty, she would definitely go crazy. In the end, Lu Fugui took out a net made of 10,000 years old silk, and caught Mo Yinyu. Songju, the son of truth, and the others who were on the same side as her didn't care about her. Because in the end they were just partners. Now that the situation was critical, they naturally wouldn't risk their lives to save Mo Yinyu. An ancient character appeared between Songju's eyebrows, flickering with brilliance. This allowed him to maintain a trace of clarity in his mind. The Son of Truth was a special primordial spirit, so he also had some resistance to this kind of soul-level confusion. However, in front of him, a black-robed figure suddenly appeared. Damn it! Seeing the newcomer, the Son of Truth's face changed. Why did the black-robed man target him? Jun Xiaoyao looked at the Son of Truth in front of him and sneered. The Son of Truth thought that this trial was safe because he knew that Jun Xiaoyao couldn't enter the Forgotten Kingdom. But he guessed wrong. Without the slightest hesitation, Jun Xiaoyao pressed his palm down and activated his eternal sand-level primordial spirit at the same time. Jun Xiaoyao didn't have a good impression of this holy orchid sect that had been plotting to get his Dharma body. How is this possible? Eternal sand-level primordial spirit. The Son of Truth was scared out of his wits. Even if he had a special primordial spirit, the level of his primordial spirit was far from reaching the eternal sand level. How many people among the 7 supreme realms could cultivate a eternal sand-level primordial spirit? Could this be a quasi-emperor? The Son of Truth inexplicably had an absurd idea in his heart. But before he could think too much, Jun Xiaoyao's move suppressed him. The current Jun Xiaoyao was no longer the same as before. Eternal sand-level primordial spirit, king of variance, sacred body, Tao fetus. All of this wasn't something that the current Son of Truth could bear. Just as the Son of Truth was about to resist, he heard a sound that sounded like a nightmare. Son of Truth, everything is over. This familiar voice made the Son of Truth's mind buzz in disbelief. A hint of fear even flashed in his eyes. Jun, Puchi. He had just spat out a word when Jun Xiaoyao's attack suppressed him. There was no suspense. The Son of Truth's physical body was directly shattered, and his primordial spirit of faith was also scattered and fled in all directions. Chapter 1252. If an ordinary primordial spirit was scattered, it would definitely be destroyed. However, the primordial spirit of faith was a special primordial spirit. Even if the primordial spirit was scattered, it could be restored with the power of faith. That was why the primordial spirit of faith was so powerful. However, Jun Xiaoyao remained unfazed when he saw what was happening. He also activated his eternal sand-level primordial spirit. Instantly, the power of his primordial spirit seemed to have turned into billions of light spots. It directly destroyed the primordial spirit of faith. The primordial spirit of faith was supported by the power of faith. It was difficult to destroy it. However, Jun Xiaoyao was going to use his eternal sand-level primordial spirit to destroy every single primordial spirit of faith. This could definitely be said to be a ruthless extermination. The powerful eternal sand-level primordial spirit suppressed the entire place. The remaining Sky Prides who were still struggling were shocked when they saw this. Who is that black-robed man? He has such a terrifying primordial spirit. As expected of the young Emperor Ling Yen, he was able to invite such a person. We admit defeat. The top Sky Prides of the other celestial heritages also took the opportunity to retreat. Of course, the forces of the 4 great nations could not escape because most of the living beings could not resist the power of the past world flower. Meanwhile, the primordial spirit of the Child of Truth was completely destroyed by Jun Xiaoyao's eternal sand-level primordial spirit. When the primordial spirit of the Child of Truth was destroyed, In the ancestral land of the Gulen sect in the Nine Heavens, immortal realm, a furious voice was heard. Who is it who dares to kill our child of truth? He entered the Forgotten Kingdom. Is it the work of the Sien Ting Sky Prides? No, even if it's for the sake of our sect, the Sien Ting Sky Prides would not kill him. Then he must have encountered some unknown danger. However, he has the primordial spirit of faith. It shouldn't be that easy to destroy it. Someone must have done it on purpose. Some of the important figures in the Gulen sect were furious. Their Gulen holy church had carefully nurtured a powerful seed that had completely fallen. It was definitely a great loss. Besides, they would never have guessed that the person who killed him was Jun Xiaoyao, who was rumored to be recuperating in the Jun family's ancestral land. Within the Forgotten Land, after killing the Son of Truth, Jun Xiaoyao had also absorbed and refined the essence of the Son of Truth's primordial spirit through his devouring power. Instantly, he gained a deeper understanding of the power of faith. It would also be easier for him to use the Dharmakaya of the gods of faith. Furthermore, the Son of Truth's immense power of faith had also been absorbed by Jun Xiaoyao and absorbed into the inner universe. In his inner universe, the sea of faith that shone with golden light had doubled in size. In the center of the ocean of faith, the god's Dharma body was like a sun. It sat there motionlessly, silently accumulating faith energy. There's quite a lot of faith power, but it's still not enough, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. In the future, he would have to think of a way to collect a large amount of faith power. After this, I should find a time to officially integrate the imperial court and expand my influence to gain more faith. Jun Xiaoyao had another idea. He had never lacked wisdom. After completely killing the Son of Truth, Jun Xiaoyao looked around and found that most of the others had fled. It was a pity that Purple Flame Lord of Heaven and the others hadn't been killed. Because Jun Xiaoyao had already found out. The one in charge of communicating with the taboo family of the Nine Heavens was Purple Flame Lord of Heaven. Jun Xiaoyao was determined to kill him no matter what. After all, he was the instigator of that assassination. However, he wasn't in a hurry. As long as he was still in the Forgotten Kingdom, he wouldn't be able to escape death. At this moment, the situation was set. The living beings of the four great nations had either died or fled. Jun Xiaoyao put away the flower of the past. This flower was extremely strange and mysterious. Jun Xiaoyao vaguely felt that the appearance of this flower in the Forgotten Kingdom shouldn't be a coincidence. It had an unusual meaning. At this moment, a fragrant wind blew over. At some point in time, his daughter was already standing beside him. "Sir, you are indeed an extraordinary person." "It's just a little trick," Jun Xiaoyao said. On the other side, Ling Yan didn't say a word. Although she had succeeded in seizing the opportunity, why was she not happy about it? "Let's go check out the opportunity," Jun Xiaoyao said. Then, they also came to the Flying Immortal Waterfall. It was rumored that the Flying Immortal Waterfall had fused with the blood of a remnant immortal, which was extremely helpful for cultivation. After a little enlightenment, Jun Xiaoyao was surprised to find that, in this Flying Immortal Waterfall, his understanding of the various laws became deeper and deeper. This Flying Immortal Waterfall was extremely helpful for enlightenment. Furthermore, there was also an extremely dense amount of energy contained within. Jun Xiaoyao could use the energy to store it for future breakthroughs. Just like before, Jun Xiaoyao, his daughter the king, and Ling Yan cultivated in the deepest part of the Flying Immortal Waterfall. The others were in the middle and outer area. Now, even Qin Yuanqing didn't dare to show the slightest dissatisfaction with Jun Xiaoyao. He saw with his own eyes that Jun Xiaoyao killed the Son of Truth with a casual wave of his hand. One had to know that even he didn't have much of a chance of winning against the Son of Truth. Now, Qin Yuanqing finally knew that he wasn't even qualified to catch Yi Shiwen's eye. Therefore, his previous ridicule was like talking to the air. On the other side, Jun Xiaoyao was in the depths of the Flying Immortal Waterfall. At the same time, he used the devouring power to absorb the energy of the remnant immortal's blood. At the same time, he began to comprehend the laws. When Jun Xiaoyao broke through to the heavenly venerable realm, he had comprehended 18 laws. That was already a record. Now Jun Xiaoyao wanted to continue comprehending more laws. Every time he comprehended a law, a ball of energy would be born in his body. And in the end, the ball of energy would turn into an innate godfiend. In other words, they were the most primitive creatures in Jun Xiaoyao's inner universe. They could grow with Jun Xiaoyao's strength. In the end, they would become one of Jun Xiaoyao's trump cards. Jun Xiaoyao even imagined comprehending 3,000 laws and evolving 3,000 primordial godfiends. Every primordial godfiend controlled a law. If they were all used together, the power would be unimaginable. After making up his mind, Jun Xiaoyao also immersed himself in cultivation. He had the monstrous aptitude of the king of variance and the help of the flying immortal waterfall. Comprehending the Tao was as simple as eating and drinking for Jun Xiaoyao. He first comprehended the simplest laws, such as the elemental Tao of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Soon, a crimson law began to appear in his body. That was the law of fire. Then, a faint blue law appeared. That was the law of water. Of course, it wasn't too difficult for Jun Xiaoyao to comprehend these most basic laws. The truly difficult ones were the laws of time, karma, and eternity. However, Jun Xiaoyao wasn't in a hurry. Comprehending 3,000 laws was obviously not something that could be achieved in a short period of time. Even a great emperor hadn't heard of anyone who could control 3,000 great Tao. Jun Xiaoyao was just starting. A journey of thousands of miles began with a single step. But without a doubt, Jun Xiaoyao's strength continued to soar. After passing through the 3 great mystic realms, Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation realm didn't increase. However, his strength had undergone a qualitative change from before. If the people of Xian Ting found out that Jun Xiaoyao had snatched the opportunity of a Xian Ting prodigy right under their noses, what would their expressions be like? Chapter 1253. Time passed bit by bit. An unknown amount of time passed. At a certain moment, Jun Xiaoyao slowly opened his eyes. There was a deep look in his eyes. 30 laws, Jun Xiaoyao muttered to himself in his heart. That's right, during this period of time, Jun Xiaoyao had comprehended 12 laws again. Of course, these laws were not like the reincarnation, void, life and death, creation, and other laws that Jun Xiaoyao had comprehended before. Instead, they were the most basic elemental laws such as metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Among the 3,000 laws there were actually differences in strength. For example, the weakest was the most basic elemental laws such as metal, wood, water, fire, earth, and other elements. If these 5 were combined into one to form the 5 elemental laws, it would be considered a higher-level law. Further up were the supreme laws such as reincarnation, karma, creation, life, and death. The 18 laws that Jun Xiaoyao had comprehended before were almost all of these supreme laws. This was also one of the reasons why Jun Xiaoyao was so heaven-defying that he could kill an immortal at will. Now Jun Xiaoyao had a new goal, which was to completely comprehend the 3,000 laws. Previously, the ancestors had taught me that the so-called Tao to become an emperor was to find a path that belonged to oneself from the great Tao that one had already cultivated and comprehended. For example, the king of assassins used killing to attain his Tao. His Tao was the Tao of massacre. As for the ancient Chaos Emperor, he had never tasted victory in the first half of his life and had never tasted defeat in the second half of his life. His Tao was to never stop fighting. What Jun Xiaoyao needed to do was to find his own Tao. However, before that, comprehending enough Tao would obviously be of great help to him in comprehending his own Tao. This flying fairy waterfall is indeed a great opportunity, Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself. Even with his monstrous talent, if he did not have such an opportunity, It would not be so easy to comprehend 12 basic laws in one go. After that, Jun Xiaoyao probed his inner universe again. He found that there were 12 more balls of energy. It was obvious that Jun Xiaoyao's own comprehension of the Tao had begun to take effect in the innerverse, which had given rise to the 12 balls of light. What surprised Jun Xiaoyao was that the 18 balls of light from before had actually hatched. 18 connate primordial chaos godfiends broke out of their shells. They were all the laws that Jun Xiaoyao had comprehended, and they were manifestations of the innerverse. Their current strength is at the true God realm. Jun Xiaoyao thought to himself as he sensed the power of the 18 primordial fiend gods. Right now, to him, true God realm did not seem to be much. However, it should be known that they were born true gods. In other words, the lowest level was the true God. What did this mean? His future potential was limitless. As long as Jun Xiaoyao's cultivation did not stop, there would be no limit to the cultivation of these innate chaos gods and devils. This was the most terrifying part. Think about it. If Jun Xiaoyao were to break through to the great emperor realm in the future in his inner universe, there were 3,000 innate gods comparable to great emperors. Once they attacked, it would be the combined attack of 3,000 great emperors. It would be almost effortless for them to defeat the great emperors of the same level. When he thought of such a heaven-defying scene, even the experienced and knowledgeable Jun Xiaoyao could not help but take a deep breath. Even he was shocked by his own thoughts. As for why there were so few great emperors who could do this, it was very simple. Firstly, not everyone was as monstrous as Jun Xiaoyao, who had the possibility of comprehending 3,000 great Daos. Even for great emperors like the King of Assassins, it was already very good if they could comprehend hundreds of great Daos. After all, the requirement of the supremacy realm was only one law. Secondly, only the innerverse that belonged to one's own world could give birth to an innate chaos god. This was the most crucial point. One had to know that the innerverse of many great emperors in the immortal domain was actually borrowing the laws of the immortal domain. What about Jun Xiaoyao? His innerverse had been expanded from God's origin. God's origin was a Tao that belonged to Jun Xiaoyao alone. It was the Tao path that he had opened. It was unprecedented. There would be no successor. This was the reason why Jun Xiaoyao could be so heaven-defying. After the 18 true immortal realm innate chaos gods broke out of their cocoons, they had been absorbing the power of the innerverse. Jun Xiaoyao did not mind. In his innerverse, there were immortal source ancestral veins, foreign dragon veins, spring of life, celestial tree, 6 paths of reincarnation, immortal root, world tree, and other top treasures. Therefore, he was not afraid of not having enough energy. After exploring for a while, Jun Xiaoyao's consciousness returned to reality. 2 pairs of beautiful eyes were also looking at him. It was Ling Yan and his daughter, the king. To be honest, they were very curious. After every opportunity in the mystic realm, they felt that Jun Xiaoyao seemed to have a qualitative change. After that, everyone finished cultivating. The energy of the flying immortal waterfall was almost depleted. Of course, most of the energy was absorbed by Jun Xiaoyao. After all, comprehending the laws was not so simple. Ling Yan's harvest was not small, and his aura was also getting stronger. Qin Yuanqing's handsome face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Because he was not in the core area, his harvest was not particularly great. Lu Fugue, on the other hand, did not care. Because he came here only to find various treasures, ancient artifacts, and so on. In his words, theoretically, as long as there were enough treasures, he could smash someone of the same level to death. At this point, the 3 mystic realms were over. The country that benefited the most was undoubtedly Womanland. All the women were very happy, and at the same time, countless eyes fell on Jun Xiaoyao from time to time. They all knew that all the credit went to Jun Xiaoyao. They were also curious about what kind of existence this man hiding under the black robe was. On the way back to the city, The king invited Jun Xiaoyao to sit in the same carriage as her. Jun Xiaoyao agreed. This made Ling Yuan feel even more depressed. She had a sour feeling. Lu Fugui dragged Mo Yenyu with the heaven's net with a lewd smile. Mo Yenyu's charming face was as pale as paper. Falling into Lu Fugui's hands was absolutely miserable for her. She seemed to be able to imagine what kind of disgusting tricks this fatty would use to deal with her. After all, Lu Fugui was known for his greed and lust. Many of his 300 beauties in his harem were directly snatched by him. After returning to Womanland, Womanland was going to hold a grand celebration banquet, and Jun Xiaoyao, without a doubt, became a hero. I hope you won't be absent from tonight's banquet. The king's voice was soft and charming. It would be impolite for me to refuse. Jun Xiaoyao smiled faintly. Then, he found Lu Fugui. I wonder if I can ask Brother Lu for a favor? Jun Xiaoyao said lightly. What's the matter? Lu Fugui said casually. He was not a fool. Jun Xiaoyao's display of such power made it obvious that he was someone with a strong background. If it weren't because he heard that the Jun family's son of God was still recuperating in the Jun family's ancestral land. He even suspected that the person in front of him was the rumored son of God of the Jun family. Of course, even if he wasn't, the strength he showed was enough to make Lu Fugui want to befriend him. I wonder if you can give this woman to me? Jun Xiaoyao pointed at Mo Yenyu. Chapter 1254. Hearing this, everyone present was a little surprised. After all, Jun Xiaoyao didn't act like a lecherous person. Both the daughter and the king favored him, and his attitude was also very decent and didn't cross the line at all. Bro, you want her to? Lu Fugui was also confused. To be honest, although he caught Mo Yenyu, he couldn't really kill her. Otherwise, the Lu family and the Mo family would be sworn enemies. Now, although the two families were in a competitive relationship, they were not in a life-and-death relationship. After all, there were no eternal enemies, only eternal interests. Even the Xian Ting and the Jun family would join forces to eradicate heaven. It's useful, Jun Xiaoyao said in a simple manner. Lu Fugui immediately understood and showed an expression that all men understood. Ahem, although I am extremely dissatisfied with this little girl and want to teach her a lesson myself. But since I'm interested in it, you can take it. Jun Xiaoyao nodded slightly and pulled the net, wanting to take Mo Yenyu to a separate side hall. Bro, let me remind you, this little girl is arrogant and fierce, a mare that is difficult to tame. Lu Fugui reminded, fearing that Jun Xiaoyao would be defeated by this woman. At this moment, everyone suddenly felt a chill. The source of it all was Ling Yuan. Ling Yan was extremely upset at this moment. Although she knew that Jun Xiaoyao didn't want to come to Mo Yenyu for dirty things. But as long as she was a woman, she would always feel a little uncomfortable. This was because of the desire to monopolize. Although women all hoped that men would only be loyal to them. But there were also strong and weak desires to monopolize. For example, Jiang Xingyi was very gentle, considerate, and willing to tolerate Jiang Luoli. But if it were Ling Yan, she would never take the initiative to let Jun Xiaoyao accept other women. This was the difference between women. Holy sh*t. Don't tell me that this guy really poached the divine child of the Jun family? Seeing Ling Yan's somewhat abnormal attitude, Lu Fugui muttered in his heart. Meanwhile, in a separate side hall, only Jun Xiaoyao and Mo Yenyu were there. Mo Yenyu was still trapped in the heavenly net. Her figure was graceful and curvaceous. Now that he was trapped in the heavenly net, there was a different kind of temptation. Although Mo Yenyu wasn't as beautiful as Ling Yan, Jiang Xingyi, or Ji Qingyi, she was famous throughout the immortal region. However, she was also the daughter of the Mo family, an aristocratic family of blacksmith. Her cold and arrogant personality, coupled with Linglong's hot figure, created a great contrast. She was like a beautiful and fierce mare that made people want to ride and conquer her. At this moment, Mo Yenyu's expression was cold. I'm Mo Yinyu from the Mo family. If you know what's good for you, you should know what to do. Mo Yinyu coldly spat out. In the beginning, she had fallen into despair after falling into Lu Fugue's hands. She also knew that Lu Fugue wouldn't really kill her. However, taking advantage of her was unavoidable. Now that it was in the hands of the black-robed man, it was better than in the hands of Lu Fugue. Her cold and arrogant attitude naturally returned. Jun Xiaoyao wasn't in a hurry. He said calmly, I saved you from Lu Fugue, and this is your attitude? If it weren't for your tricks, I wouldn't have been caught by that damn fatty. Thinking of this, Mo Yinyu gritted her teeth. She wanted to chop Lu Fugue into pieces. As expected of the Mo family's Mississippi. Your personality is just like what Lu Fugue said. Jun Xiaoyao smiled. Mo Yinyu stared coldly at Jun Xiaoyao and said, You don't need to force me to repay you. As long as you let me go, I'll give you immortal sources, treasures, cultivation techniques, anything. And quasi-thearch weapons. Do you want a quasi-thearch weapon? As long as you let me go, I can give it to you. Hearing Mo Yinyu's words, Jun Xiaoyao really wanted to laugh. Indeed, as a blacksmith family, the Mo family's resources were far more abundant than ordinary clan of the ancients. However, compared to the Jun family, it was like showing off in front of an expert. Even the emperor's imperial court didn't lack emperor weapons. Mo Yinyu took out a quasi-thearch weapon as a bargaining chip, thinking that it was very attractive. However, in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes, it was very laughable. I saved you, and you submit to me. Then I can let you go. Jun Xiaoyao finally revealed his purpose for being there. He wanted Mo Yinyu to submit to him, not for this person. It was for the Mo family. Jun Xiaoyao already had an idea in his mind. He wanted to establish the 6 departments of the emperor's imperial court. And in Jun Xiaoyao's plan, one of the 6 departments was called the Department of Works. The so-called Department of Works was the department for refining artifacts, pills, forging talismans. As everyone knew, the forces that were best at forging artifacts in the immortal realm were the Lu family, the Mo family, and the Gongshu family. Previously, Jun Xiaoyao was willing to communicate with Lu Fugue. Of course, it was also for the Lu family. Jun Xiaoyao wanted to incorporate the Lu family and the Mo family into the Department of Works of the Emperor's imperial court. Of course, this was not something that could be done in a short time. However, Lu Fugue and Mo Yinyu were 2 breakthroughs. They were also the most outstanding talents of the 2 families. However, hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, Mo Yinyu's face immediately turned cold. You want me to submit to you? Impossible. Who do you think you are? Are you the son of God of the Jun family? Do you have the right to make me submit? Mo Yinyu refused without even thinking about it. She had always been a proud mare. Not everyone had the right to ride on her. Haha, Jun Xiaoyao laughed. Then, he directly withdrew the heavenly net. Mo Yinyu immediately reacted. Her jade-like hand touched her dark purple hair bun and took out the purple jade hairpin. The purple jade hairpin instantly turned into a sharp ame piercer. It was a quasi-thearch weapon. Mo Yinyu held the ame piercer and stabbed it at Jun Xiaoyao's temple at lightning speed. Wait. A faint voice came out. The ame piercer was only an inch away from Jun Xiaoyao's temple. Why are you afraid? Mo Yinyu's red lips carried a mocking smile. Jun Xiaoyao sighed and took off his black robe and hood. A white robe appeared. A handsome face like that of a celestial being looked at Mo Yinyu. His eyes were as deep as the sun and the moon in the sky. Mo Yinyu was stunned. The ame piercer in her hand fell to the ground with a clang. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and lowered his head to pick up the ame piercer. It's a pretty hairpin. With a shake of his wrist, it turned back into the purple jade hairpin. Then, Jun Xiaoyao personally inserted it back into Mo Yinyu's hair bun. Mo Yinyu was dumbfounded. She naturally recognized who the handsome white-robed man in front of her was. She was lucky enough to see him on the ultimate ancient road, and during the border battle. However, she felt very inferior. She didn't think that with her identity and status, she could have any interaction with the Son of God of the June family. But now, what happened? A legendary prodigy had appeared in front of her just like that. He even helped her insert the hairpin. This made Mo Yinyu feel like she was in a dream. She was about to faint. Then, she remembered her actions and instantly broke out in a cold sweat. She hurriedly bowed to Jun Xiaoyao. "I didn't know you were the Son of God. I'm sorry for offending you. Please forgive me." Mo Yinyu's voice was trembling. Why was she so sure? Apart from that vague and terrifying aura, there was nothing else. To be able to repel the 4 countries with such means, and to instantly kill the Son of Truth. Except for Jun Xiaoyao, who could do it? Chapter 1255. Mo Yinyu's heart raced, and her back was drenched in sweat. She was puzzled, very puzzled. Wasn't it rumored that the Son of God of the Jun family was assassinated and severely injured, and was healing in the ancestral land of the Jun family? But why would he appear here? But that image, that aura, and the strength he had shown before, he was indeed the Son of God of the Jun family. If it were anyone else, who would dare to kill the Son of Truth so easily? Jun Xiaoyao was the only one who dared to do so. And there was one more thing. From Mo Yinyu's observation, Ling Yan should know Jun Xiaoyao's identity. Sure enough, as the rumors said, even young Emperor Ling Yan fell in the hands of the Son of God? Mo Yinyu murmured in her heart, and looked at the handsome face in front of her. Indeed, if it were any other woman, it would be difficult to resist. Putting everything else aside, this face alone was enough to make thousands of women in the world willingly fall in his hands. It was so much so that being able to be looked at by Jun Xiaoyao was an unparalleled honor. Why, I don't look so fierce, do I? Looking at Mo Yinyu's changing expression, Jun Xiaoyao touched his chin with his hand. Was Mo Yinyu scared by him? Of course not. Son of God is very good-looking. Mo Yinyu lowered her head, not daring to look at Jun Xiaoyao's face. If Lu Fugui was here, he would be so shocked that his jaw would fall to the ground. Was this still the arrogant mare that the Mo family couldn't tame? No wonder Mo Yinyu had such an attitude. Even if she was the noble daughter of the Mo family. But in front of someone like Jun Xiaoyao, she was still insignificant. The two were not on the same level at all. If the Jun family were to get serious, they wouldn't even need to waste too much effort to destroy the Mo family. No allies would dare to help the Mo family, because the previous 2 immortal battles were enough to show the Jun family's courage and strength. Haha, don't be nervous. Are you afraid that I will eat you? Jun Xiaoyao joked. A blush appeared on Mo Yinyu's face. Previously, she was really afraid that this black-robed man would eat her. But now, Jun Xiaoyao's identity had been exposed. Mo Yinyu actually felt that it wasn't a big deal even if she was eaten. Instead, she felt honored. However, she had some self-awareness. Those who could have a relationship with Jun Xiaoyao were all peerless heavenly maidens. For example, the goddess of the Jiang family and the young Emperor Ling Yan. She wasn't qualified. Actually, I admire you very much. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Mo Yinyu. Mo Yinyu's heartbeat sped up, and her face blushed. She couldn't help but reveal a hint of joy. How many women could be praised by the Jun family's Son of God? So, what are your considerations? Only then did Mo Yinyu remember that Jun Xiaoyao had said that he wanted her to submit to him. If it were anyone else, Mo Yinyu wouldn't even think about it. But the person standing in front of her was the noblest and most outstanding man in the entire Jiutian city. Countless heavenly maidens and peerless fairies wanted to become his followers, or even his concubines. The opportunity was right in front of her. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't agree. I won't let Lu Fugui do anything to you. After all, it would be a pity if a beautiful flower was tarnished. Jun Xiaoyao raised his hand, brushed the dark purple hair on Mo Yinyu's forehead, and said lightly. Mo Yinyu almost stopped breathing, and her face blushed. The joy in her heart couldn't help but surge. Son of God is too gentle, Mo Yinyu murmured in her heart. Linglong's delicate body seemed to have melted into a pool of spring water. If she missed this opportunity, it was almost impossible to have a relationship with Jun Xiaoyao again. Would she regret it for the rest of her life? Yenyu is willing. Mo Yenyu bowed her head and said respectfully to Jun Xiaoyao. Jun Xiaoyao smiled and then said, I heard that there are 5 candidates for the inheritance of the Mo family in this generation. Are you one of them? This was not a secret. Mo Yenyu nodded slightly and said, It is indeed as Son of God said. Since you are mine, I will naturally help you control the Mo family. Any resources, manpower, material, can come to me. Jun Xiaoyao said. Mo Yenyu's heart skipped a beat. Although she was a little afraid in front of Jun Xiaoyao. But she was not a fool. She understood the meaning of Jun Xiaoyao's words. Lord Son of God, could it be that you? Mo Yenyu wanted to say something but stopped, feeling a little uneasy. Jun Xiaoyao sighed and said with a smile, Don't worry, I am not going to attack the Mo family. I just hope to find an opportunity to cooperate with the Mo family. Although Jun Xiaoyao said this, he had already thought of a plan in his heart. At this stage, cooperation was the priority. But in the future, when his cultivation level increased, wouldn't it be easy for the Mo family to completely merge with the monarch imperial court? Jun Xiaoyao did not want to force other forces to join from the beginning. That would not be beneficial to the monarch imperial court. Therefore, even if he was the king of assassins, Jun Xiaoyao would still try to appease him and not force him to join. So that's how it is. Mo Yenyu was completely relieved. If they were only looking for cooperation, then the Mo family should be happy to establish a relationship with Jun Xiaoyao. And if she could obtain Jun Xiaoyao's appreciation and support, she would have a great chance of standing out from the 5 inheritors. It was not impossible for her to become the head of the Mo family in the future. Thinking of this, Mo Yenyu looked at Jun Xiaoyao with a hint of respect and yearning. All right, don't reveal my identity for now, Jun Xiaoyao said. He was in the dark, and the enemy was in the light. This was the most beneficial for him. Yenyu understands, Mo Yenyu said respectfully. Outside, the celebration banquet of Womanland was about to be held. Ling Yan and the others were invited to join. Damn, it's been so long and they still haven't come out. This brother is awesome, he can last so long. Lu Fugue couldn't help but sigh. Although he had 300 beautiful wives and concubines, however, he only needed 300 seconds to do it once. However, it took the 2 of them so long to go in. Shut up. A cold voice sounded. Ling Yan's delicate jade face was filled with anxiety and impatience. Lu Fugue shrank his head. Qin Yuanqing pretended to be smart and said with a faint smile, Young Emperor, why are you so anxious for a dirty person? It's heartbreaking to think that the noble daughter of the Mo family fell into the hands of such a person. You shut up too. Ling Yan's tone was even more indifferent. Qin Yuanqing's face stiffened. Was he venting his anger on him? At this moment, Jun Xiaoyao and Mo Yenyu finally appeared. The moment they appeared, Lu Fugue was stunned. Damn, is she king tamed? Mo Yenyu was respectfully walking half a step behind Jun Xiaoyao, who was wearing a black robe. She looked exactly like an obedient maid. Her eyes looked at Jun Xiaoyao from time to time. Her eyes were full of respect and longing, and there was a touch of blush on her cheeks. It gave people a feeling that she had finished her work. Brother, awesome! Lu Fugue gave a thumbs up. To be able to train Mo Yenyu to such an obedient state, he was truly impressed. Miss Mo, he didn't do anything to you, right? Qin Yuanqing looked concerned. Mo Yenyu's identity might be nothing in Jun Xiaoyao's eyes, but in Qin Yuanqing's eyes, she was not much lower than him. If he could build a relationship with this noble daughter of the Mo family, it would be good. This is between my master and me. What does it have to do with you? Mo Yenyu said with a cold face. Qin Yuanqing's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. I'm King concerned about you, why are you scolding me? Qin Yuanqing was completely speechless. Ling Yan was like this, and so was Mo Yanyu. Was he too annoying? Why were they all treating him like this? At this moment, Ling Yan's delicate and beautiful face turned to Jun Xiaoyao and said coldly, "How does it feel to be in a tender place?" Jun Xiaoyao was speechless. Was the jar of vinegar overturned? Chapter 1256. After that, Womanland held a grand celebration banquet. Ling Yan, Jun Xiaoyao, and the others received the most honorable reception. The entire city was brightly lit. It was like a dreamy city that never slept. Lu Fugue and the others were drunk and very relaxed. After the banquet, the queen invited Jun Xiaoyao alone to the secluded royal courtyard at the back to rest. Ling Yan felt a burst of jealousy in his heart when he saw this. In the secluded royal courtyard, there was a small bridge with flowing water. There were green pines and cypresses, jade grass and rare flowers. From time to time, there were harmless rare beasts jumping in the forest. Lanterns after lanterns decorated this place, adding a dreamy color. The queen and Jun Xiaoyao came to an open-air pavilion in the courtyard. This time, I still have to thank Mr. The queen smiled slightly. Her temperament was graceful and noble, but at this moment, she seemed to be no different from an ordinary woman. It's nothing. Moreover, I did it for myself, Jun Xiaoyao said. Here's a toast to Mr. The queen personally poured the wine and invited Jun Xiaoyao to drink with her. Jun Xiaoyao took the wine cup, smiled faintly, and drank. By the way, may I have the honor of seeing Mr.'s true appearance? The queen suddenly asked curiously. Jun Xiaoyao smiled, did not mind, and took off his cloak. The daughter of the king looked over and was immediately stunned. The mountains are far away, but there are no beautiful women, but there are banished immortals in the human world, the queen murmured absent-mindedly. Under the moonlight of the Chaos Demon planet, a handsome young man in white held a white jade wine cup and sipped it. What a stunning scene this was! The queen seemed to want to engrave this scene deeply in her heart. Her heart throbbed for the first time. Jun Xiaoyao sipped the wine and smiled faintly. I have revealed my true appearance to you, queen, but I don't know your real name. Hearing Jun Xiaoyao's words, the queen came back to her senses, and her face was slightly red. For as long as I can remember, everyone calls me the Daughter King. I don't have a name, the Daughter King said. Is that so? Jun Xiaoyao looked at the wine glass in his hand. He thought to himself, as expected. How about this? If you don't mind, how about I give you a name? Jun Xiaoyao was suddenly interested. Give a name. The daughter of the king was confused. Zhuang Xingxiao, Dream Butterfly. How about the name Zhuang Xiaoming? Jun Xiaoyao asked meaningfully. Zhuang Xiaoming. The queen muttered to herself, and then looked at Jun Xiaoyao with bright eyes. Zhuang Xiaoming, this name is naturally very beautiful. Actually, there's an allusion to this name, Jun Xiaoyao said as he swirled the wine in his glass. Oh? At this moment the daughter-in-law king was like a curious baby. She blinked her phoenix eyes and looked at Jun Xiaoyao. Once upon a time, there was a person who was sleeping and had a dream. In the dream, he turned into a butterfly, fluttering gracefully and carefree. And just when he was so happy that he almost forgot about himself, he suddenly woke up. It turned out that this was just a dream, and the butterfly was just an incarnation of himself in the dream. But that person thought about it again. Perhaps he was really a butterfly, and now he was just a dream of the butterfly. Jun Xiaoyao finished speaking. The daughter of the king fell into deep thought. Jun Xiaoyao took a sip and drank the wine in his glass in one gulp. Then he said, Your Majesty, we're about to leave. The daughter of the king shook her head and said, I don't call you daughter of the king. Jun Xiaoyao smiled, Xiaoming. Can't you stay? The daughter of the king, no, it should be Zhuang Xiaoming. At this moment, there was a hint of urging in her tone. Jun Xiaoyao was silent and looked at the Mars demon star in the sky. Originally, the Mars demon star was only in the shape of a crescent moon from the Forgotten Land. But now it was almost a full moon. If we don't leave now, I'm afraid we'll become like those walking corpses. Jun Xiaoyao looked at the Mars demon star that was almost a full moon and said, after the primordial spirit level broke through to the eternal sand level, Jun Xiaoyao finally understood everything. The reason for the formation of those walking corpses was not just because of the past flower. There was also this Mars demon star. He could now feel that the Mars demon star had a terrifying soul power. This soul power seemed to have absorbed the primordial spirits of countless people and was extremely vigorous. Ordinary people would definitely not be able to resist the charm of the Mars demon star. Even Jun Xiaoyao, who had broken through to the eternal sand-level primordial spirit, could not guarantee it. And Jun Xiaoyao preliminarily judged that when the Mars demon star was full moon, that terrifying soul power would reach its peak. All the outside creatures that stayed in this forgotten land would become like those walking corpses, wandering this land forever. This was the most terrifying killing move of the Lost Land. Zhuang Xiaoming's face was as pale as paper. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Zhuang Xiaoming and said with a faint smile, "I know you mean well." Zhuang Xiaoming was speechless. After a moment of silence, Zhuang Xiaoming said faintly, "Leave this place and head west. Then you will enter the world of divine remains. The ancient Xian Ting ruins that you mentioned before should be in the world of divine remains." "Thank you." Jun Xiaoyao got up. "Wait." Zhuang Xiaoming bit her lip and hesitated. Jun Xiaoyao looked at Zhuang Xiaoming. "Can you hug me?" Zhuang Xiaoming said faintly. Jun Xiaoyao chuckled and gently hugged Zhuang Xiaoming, then turned and left. Zhuang Zhou dreams of a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming of Zhuang Zhou. The Forgotten Land is indeed very interesting. The next day, Jun Xiaoyao, Ling Yan, and the others left Womanland. Zhuang Xiaoming stood on the city wall and watched Jun Xiaoyao and the others leave. A tear streaked across her cheek. Zhuang Zhou dreams of a butterfly, Zhuang Xiaoming muttered to herself. Her figure gradually became illusory. On the other side, Lu Fuguei and the others looked back and suddenly exclaimed in surprise. "Where is the city of Womanland? Why is it gone?" Although they had been some distance away, they should have been able to see the city. "Haven't you noticed?" Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. "Brother, what do you mean?" Lu Fuguei was still confused. Mo Yanyu was also confused. Only Ling Yan seemed to have suddenly thought of something, and a touch of astonishment flashed across her beautiful eyes. "Everything is just a dream, an illusion," Jun Xiaoyao said. "What?" Lu Fuguei screamed in disbelief. "How is that possible? You mean what we experienced is all an illusion?" Qin Yuanqing also didn't want to believe it. They were all outstanding people. If it was just a rough illusion or an illusion array, they should be able to see through it. Jun Xiaoyao directly told them some things. What? The 9 worlds are all illusions of some kind of dream? The real killer move of the Forgotten Land is the Chaos Demon Star, and those walking corpses before are also related to it? Hearing Jun Xiaoyao's explanation, all the geniuses present felt that it was unbelievable. It was really too amazing. It was as if they had taken a trip to the dream realm. Otherwise, how could the Forgotten Kingdom become one of the 7 incredible worlds? Jun Xiaoyao said indifferently. What he experienced when he entered Womanland was that indescribable strangeness. In fact, it originated from this. However, at that time, his primordial spirit had not reached the eternal sand level, so he couldn't be sure. Of course, the opportunities of the 3 great secret realms are all real. This is also the biggest opportunity of the Lost Land in the periphery of the Forgotten Kingdom. That's not right. If it's the sole power of the dream realm, how could we be injured by those people from those countries? Lu Fuguei was confused. Previously, Qin Yuanqing was injured by the demon crown prince of the demon world. Although they are illusions in the dream, they are created by extremely terrifying soul power. If you want to know the real reason, you have to completely unravel the secret of the Forgotten Kingdom. Only then can you know it, Jun Xiaoyao said. This was also why Jun Xiaoyao said that the Forgotten Kingdom was very interesting. Because maybe his guess when he entered before was true. The Forgotten Kingdom was really alive.